coming in on the backside of this after getting everything started and rolling, but it sounds like it's a family operation that your dad will still whoop you if you mess up.
Oh, yeah. He was there this morning. Wanting to know what I was going to say today. So, no, he's Dad's the patriarch.
Yeah.
And Dad's one of these guys that, he got out of high school and worked hard 2 or 3 jobs. And then he got on at a chemical plant and was a teamster. So he worked very hard his way up through the ranks and taught my brother and I lessons in how to deal with people, how to work with people, and how to get along. And then the Christian values that was put behind that is what drove our family. That's why money doesn't drive our family. So when big companies come to us going, hey, here's this massive contract, I just shrug my shoulders at them. That doesn't bother me or move my family. Now, you might ask my wife and daughters, they may have to take a different approach to that, but as a family, as the Monk family, money didn't drive us because we didn't have any growing up. We lived in the country. We didn't even have neighbors for like miles. So it was just my brother and my sister and I. So we had to get along, and we learned to get along. And we still, on Sunday afternoons, still eat dinner together as a family after church.
How about that?
And I don't know.
There's not a whole lot of that going on.
No, so we'll sit down at Mom's house. She'll cook. Now, Mom's 86, so we don't expect her. She would cook every Sunday if we'd let her, but we take Mom out on Sundays now. So we all go out as a family, the grandkids. So we'll just, Raising Cane's, we'll just mob that place with the Monk family in there. And we eat together as the family, and we will sit there and tell everybody, hush, we're going to say the blessings, and we'll bless everybody else's food.
That's
but
right.
This is the family of WiseEye. This is, so when you come down, it's just, this is the way we are.
Well, with that, I want you to go ahead and introduce yourself. We're rolling.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. That's a perfect, you couldn't ask for a better introduction. That's incredible. So, we got the old crazy man here to my left. Y'all's right. We're going to get him introduced.
You're just misunderstood, aren't you?
Yeah, he's just old Dan, old cooter juice, misunderstood. But before we do, I'm going to get you to go ahead and introduce yourself. Pull that mic into you just a little bit. And again, you can move it all around. Get comfortable with it. So
Sure. My name is Harold Monk. I'm the CEO of WiseEye. We are located in a little town called Denham Springs, Louisiana. We're going to be there probably for another 6 months, and now we're moving back to Baton Rouge because we're outgrowing our buildings. We've moved 4 times in the last 3 years because we're outgrowing our buildings. I drew the short straw, I guess, when it comes to the CEO. I got it. So I'm learning to be a CEO. And it's very hard in a family business, believe it or not, because it's either I'm a brother, I'm a dad, I'm the uncle, but I have to be the CEO too. Yeah. So even my kids now call me Harold and not Dad, because we don't want to, when people come in the office, they don't know who I am. They'll say, here comes one says, well, hello, Dad. And the guy goes, well, is this the guy in the back in the shipping? No, this is the CEO. So this culture that we're having to build at WiseEye is a little different than normal because it is such a big family dynamic there. And so we are trying to put better options. But I'm the CEO of the company. My brother, Daryl, is the COO, and he's in charge of HR, which scares us all to death. And so, and then I have a sister who's running the accounting system. I have a daughter that does all accounts payable. I have one daughter that does all the orders that come in for Spotted Dog. She's already put them in the system. I have 2 son-in-laws that work there. My dad's there. I got 2 cousins, nephews.
Big family tree.
Yeah, well, I told somebody, when you walk in the office, don't yell at somebody because they're kin or on the phone. Don't tell somebody or talk bad about anybody in the office because they're kin somewhere down the line.
That's right.
It'll eventually make the rounds.
Yeah.
So Dan's been in there several times. He knows the family dynamic. It is a fun place to work. We come in every morning at 8:00. We sit around the big conference table. We make coffee. We eat donuts. We just talk for an hour. How's your day? How's the family? Before we start work at 9. So it's just a big family atmosphere. We have fun. In fact, the 3 things that we do is we make a great product. we help the customers, and we're going to have fun.
That's right.
And that's just the way
Now, I did have to educate them on coffee at an office.
Yes. I didn't know coffee was a staple for the whole day.
He puts that critter getter in it. That's what.
Well, no, he just drinks it black. He'll come in and we only make about 2 pots in the morning for the whole crew. And then Dan comes in there going, "Where's the coffee?" I said, "Well, it was over coffee's done by 9:30. And before 10:30, there's already been 2 more pots made. And Dan drinks one of them by himself, and so.
Of course.
So we have learned to keep the community packs out in the open for Dan, when he gets there. So we keep him.
So everything is right there, local community coffee, the whole 9 yards.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Local, baby.
I mean, I'm such a community. I ought to be an advertisement for those guys, because how many people take 20 pounds of that coffee with them every trip to Africa?
20 pounds?
Yeah, we take 20 pounds every trip over.
Good night.
Well, yeah, we're going to be there a couple of weeks. I mean,
You have
come
a
on.
problem. 20 pounds, that's a lot.
He has a drinking problem.
Yes, he does. Oh, my. He's wired for 220 already. That coffee
Yes, he
compounds all that.
Yeah. And it's, of course, the signature dark roast.
Yeah. So Dan comes in, we have a good time at the office. It's always entertaining around there. Something's always going on.
Oh, with Dan, something's absolutely.
Absolutely.
Something's going to be on fire and some fun's going to be had. Those two things. Dan, thank you for coming back. I appreciate you.
Man, I wouldn't miss this. When y'all said you wanted to get them up here, I just had to come because the story of how Harold and I met was actually off a WiseEye camera picture. And that I posted online. I'd bought them from one of their dealers, and I'd heard about this Louisiana company, and me being in the scent business, I got a jillion cameras and everything. The same problems other people have, just not finding the camera I wanted. So I decided to buy a few of these cameras and put them out. And this was, well, I don't know, 6 years ago now. It's been a long time, and I started using that tracking feature, and it told me to hunt a specific stand on a specific morning with a specific wind and a specific time. And I went in there that morning in that creek bottom, and sure enough, a mature buck shows up, and I put an arrow through him. But what really sold the deal is when the deer spun, you see the arrow on camera going out the backside of the deer on the WiseEye camera. So I posted that online, and of course they had to find out who posted that picture. Well, here we are.
Oh, cuz.
My first reaction was, "Who's Cooter?" Yeah. And he said, "No, that's Cooter Juice." I'm going, "Well, it says Cooter. Y'all call Cooter and see if we can use his picture."
That's right.
That's funny.
Well, you got Cuz's game sense.
Yeah.
We've all used it. Matter of fact, I'm running a little bit low. I'm gonna have to, next time I'm spot a dog, I'm gonna have to grab some, because that Rookham juice is just about sprayed all it's gonna spray.
I'm going to tell you, that's a staple with all of us here.
Well, and it's a great product. It's for the scrape. It's for the mock scrape. But when people really learn the effectiveness of Seymour deer, which your son knows firsthand, how big was that deer he shot that followed him to his stand?
170 and some change.
In Louisiana, which is almost unheard of.
Yeah.
To me, that's it is. It's
I thought he was going to talk about his favorite son. He didn't. I'm sorry. You've been
Mr.
replaced.
Dan, he bleeds WiseEye. I 3 years ago,
at
got
least.
together, was it 3 or 4? Anyway, he told us about his product, but then the next thing he wanted to know is, do y'all have WiseEye cameras? I said, Mr. Dan, just hang on. Let's don't get the cart ahead of the horse. We have had.
Right.
And anyway, and hence that's why we're here today.
Well, great.
Yeah, we got the 2 cameras. Richard, he's hogging it.
Okay.
Grab hold.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
no.
steal
I
it.
was reading the thing.
I'm gonna steal it back. So we are looking at the Datacam 2, the DC2 No Glow WiseEye camera. That is what we are here to talk about. Not just this, but just your cameras in general. This just so happens to be one. It's a bundle pack. Comes with this and the lithium.
Is in the box.
It's in there. Yep. And then we got the solar panel as well. I'm excited about this. I think all of y'all know, but there's a lot of really good trail cameras. Here, I'll let you hold this back. There's a lot of really good trail camera companies out there, and they make a good product. Us being 700 miles away, I haven't found the camera that I just really, really love, that I'm just over the moon about. And we've had some issues with a few different ones. The companies, they've been incredible that we've had issues with. They replaced or fixed them. That's awesome. But I wanted something a little bit different. And like I said, talking with you, and we're like, man, let's look at this WiseEye again. And so here we are in just a very short time. We're getting the order in and going to have it on the shelf. Matter of fact, when everybody's listening to this podcast, this is recorded about, when are we going to drop this? We said 3 weeks, a month, something like that?
Oh, no, you could drop it. You can drop it in about 2 weeks.
Okay. All right. So this is recorded about 2 weeks prior to it dropping now. And you're going to find out shortly why that's the case. He's got some information that we don't even know about yet. So I'm excited to hear about all the other good fun stuff. But as you're listening to this, these cameras, the data cams, not sure what all different variations and different cameras you have, because you have the mini cam, data cam.
We only have 2 cameras.
Yeah.
We keep it very simple.
Okay.
There's no need of having.
Turn that mic up towards you just a touch.
There's no need of having.
Thank you.
There's no need of having 8 different cameras on the shelf.
Yeah.
Just 2.
Well, the 2 cameras. Yeah. It's going to be pretty easy to carry those. With some of the, so we have a solar panel here. We have the lithium packs. As you're listening to this, you will be able to go to SpottedDogSportingGoods.com and order yours, unless they're already sold out by this very short 10-minute introduction, which is very, very likely. Who knows? But thank you, as always, for you coming on.
Oh, yeah. Hey, thank you for letting me be here.
Well, I needed somebody to buy supper tonight, so I had to invite you.
That was your motive. I love it.
I had to invite
You
you.
got Mr. Slade over there.
Slade, appreciate you coming and join us. We want to get in talking about the cameras. I want to see what makes this camera, in your opinion, different than all of the other ones with some of your technologies. But I really, really want to see what some of the new updates are. And that's what I'm looking forward to hearing.
Sure. I think what makes WiseEye the biggest difference between WiseEye and other camera companies or other cameras is that most of those are there to take pictures of animals, and you decide whether you want to kill that animal or not. That's what they're for. We built WiseEye around the idea of conservation. This is where this started. WiseEye was actually originally started as a company to help the USDA control the feral pig problem. This is where WiseEye started. And actually in 2014, we were actually on national television with a machine that was built that was going to deliver the toxin to feral pigs. I don't know if you remember seeing that, but there was a machine that was shown that would open the doors if it knew there was a pig there. But it would close the doors if there was a bear or a deer or something that could possibly eat the toxin and expire, of course. And you're talking about 2013, 2014, when that was unheard of,
right?
That technology existed. We didn't know what AY was. We were just 2 dumb Cajuns in a shop trying to figure this thing out. And so we built hunt control as the mechanism to track animals, to be able to identify animals. So we were identifying animals in pictures in 2013, 2014. We were actually tracking these things. And so as we got more adapt to building software around that, we got this hunt control that was, to a T. We could pick out deer. We could pick out antlers. We could pick out, bears, coons, cows, and so we can identify these animals. And then we could tell a machine what to do if it saw a coon or a bear or a hog or a deer. So our technology started around building feeders. And that's where we started. We actually built a deer feeder that would only feed whitetail deer. If a raccoon, hog, or anything approached that feeder, we also had a way to teach them not to touch the feeder. It would arm itself with 10,000 volts. And if you've never seen a coon go in the air 3 feet in the air, that's pretty comical when he touched that machine.
I would love to see that.
I got some videos. Or a hog that approached the machine to try to open it, and you see a spark go across his nose, he don't touch the machine again.
Now, was any of that made public? Was any of that for public consumption?
Yes, that was public consumption. We built that. But the problem is we actually, with some of the biggest outdoor people that are in the business, saw this machine, and we sit down and have conversations with them, and they looked at us and said, Harold, you're 10 years ahead of anything that everybody's going to understand. They're still taking a knife, ripping a bag, throwing corn on the ground. This technology is so far ahead. So we had to back up at that point. We are spending a lot of money. This is our money. We didn't remember there's no investors involved here. So all this money we're spending is our money. So we concentrated more on hunt control. How do we track these animals? How do we do this kind of stuff? About 2017, 2018, we decided to let some camera companies use the hunt control. We didn't want to be in the camera business. We're a technology company. Cameras are not the technology we were after. So we were wined and dined by all of them. You can pick which one you want to figure. We got a call from all of them. A lot of them bought us steaks. Some of them bought us good steaks, and some of them bought us pretty bad steaks. But we were all wined and dined by all of them wanting hunt control. Now, hunt control, understand, we had certain patents around things, and we had filed a bunch more. So we kind of limited to where people could go with their technology. And as we would look at their cameras and pull in information trying to hunt control, we were getting bad data. We couldn't tell whether it was a hog or a bear. We couldn't tell whether it was a cow.
Because of picture clarity?
Because of picture clarity and how the data is transmitted back through their system. Because remember, their cameras are just taking a picture. They care less about anything else. But as we were building hunt control, we were taking those 11 things we know about animals and how movement and data and wind direction and moon phases, position of the sun, all this stuff we're taking, trying to figure out what's going on in this picture, to where nobody was able to give us that. So the idea was said, Jason, my son-in-law, said, well, let's go build our own camera. Oh, gosh, here comes some more money we didn't have. So I sold my retirement, and we went out to build a camera. Now, understand, I worked for a very, very prestigious engineering software company, and I knew some of the best in the world. And that's when I called them and said, okay, I got to build a camera. What lens do I use? Which modems do I use? What housings do I use? What's the best plastic that doesn't warp in the Texas sun and will not crack in minus 30-degree temperature? So I actually had some of the smartest guys I know help me design that first couple cameras with the PC boards and how data, because remember, this is a data camera. We're not trying to build a trail camera. So that's how all this started. So the first one that you had was that first one that we built. And so as we have gotten better, technology's gotten better, components have gotten smaller, we were able to build the smaller cameras like the MC2 that you sell, and then this DC2. Now, the DC2 is a beast. This guy has the biggest modem put in a trail camera. This thing will reach out a long way. We've been told in North Dakota it's been tested at 25 miles and it can still hit the tower.
Wow.
So that's pretty impressive. Now, that was from someone who is up there. I haven't personally put my eyes on that camera, but the person that's pretty reputable said it was 25 miles to the camera. His phone doesn't work as SOS because he knows where the tower's at. But the DC2 runs very well up there.
Yeah, I see the physical size. Yeah,
I'm making all kind of record over here.
That's all right.
Well, the DC2 is thick, and there's a reason why we had a lot of requests, for more power to the camera, because the modem in this thing is very powerful. So it takes more power to push this modem, to push this data. So we had to put, instead of 8 batteries, we put 12 in it. So once we made that commitment, we went, okay, what about a lithium battery pack? So we put a lithium battery pack in it. Then we said, so what do we do with the lithium battery pack? You're 700 miles from the camera. The lithium battery pack goes out. What do? Well, you have to have somebody go up there. So Jason, who's my son-in-law, said, well, then we got to put the electronics in this camera that anything that plugs to it will charge the lithium battery without you having to do anything else. It's just automatically done. So we went in and built the components in that camera to charge the internal batteries inside the camera. It also has 32 gigs of RAM in it. Most camera companies are not even close to that, but it has 32 gigs of RAM built into that camera. Yeah. So you never need an SD card unless you want one. That's up to you.
How about that?
Yeah.
That's a sturdy feeling camera.
It's stout.
But you know what I remember about the first generation that we, and I say, and it might not have been the first generation.
Right.
It might have been a second generation, but it was not hard to set up.
They're not. They're mad. Remember we talked about the 86-year-old father I got. The MC2 was built for my 86-year-old father who still has a flip phone. Okay, so he doesn't have a lot of apps and stuff on his phone to change things. He just said, I want a camera that I can turn on. It connect to the app, and I got lights right here to tell me what's going on. And if I get 5 green lights here, I can turn it on and walk away from that camera.
Yeah.
He said, I don't want to go to menu and then have to ask, now, do I go to about, do I go to information, or do I go to system to format a card or change from picture to video? I want to do it on my app, and it changed the camera. I don't want to sit here and fight in South Louisiana weather when it's 105 degrees and mosquitoes about to carry you off, trying to figure out what button to push to get the right one on the menu. So the mini camera was built as simple as you could be. I don't want to fight with it. There's only 2 buttons on it. There's a format, the SD card, and there's a take a test picture. Other than that, it does itself. Yeah. It connects with the hunt control. It makes sure, and if there's anything wrong, it'll put you a red light on the item that it is having problems doing.
Well, I know there's a lot of folks that are awfully glad to hear that.
Yeah, well, so one thing that I want to say, because the first thing that comes to my redneck mind is, if I have a really simple, like this is a very robust, slick looking camera, and this is real quick, this is y'all's custom camo, right?
Yes, yeah, that is owl feathers, believe it or not. That is actually owl feathers that we went and took pictures. We had an artist we took some bark of pine trees, oak trees, gum trees, what have you, and then we said, I want this bark patterns to be covered with owl feathers, and that's where that camouflage came on.
That's pretty dope. But what I was saying is, typically when you have a very, very simple camera that you just turn it on, simple setup, it's going to be a pretty simple camera.
Right.
This one, this is not, bear with me when I say this, this is not a trail camera. I mean, hence the name DC. This is a data collecting device.
That's what it is. This is the data collector, second generation.
So most people right now, because this is really the only technology out there when it comes to trail cameras, you get a trail camera, you set it up, and it sends me a picture when I get a picture of a deer or a bear or a hog or whatever. Mm-hmm. For most people, that is fine. Most people, the trail cameras they have, it works for them. It's been working for them for years. It is fine. What is the technology that you have, and why should I be concerned with it? Well, how is that going to make my life easier? How is that going to make my, I guess, hunting season more successful? And not so much into just killing. I mean, ultimately, that's what we all go to do. But even understanding the deer and understanding their movements and this wind and that wind. I mean, that's really the brains behind a lot of this stuff, correct?
Right. One of the things that one of the things that I read a book many years ago that quoted Albert Einstein, it said, imagination is everything. So when we sit down to build these things, we let our imagination run. So let's see what we can do. Because we don't build a camera every year.
Right.
We don't need to. We build cameras every 2 or 3 years. When we think about my great-grandfather who grew up in Flatwoods, Louisiana. I don't know if you know where Flatwoods, Louisiana, or Lena, Flatwoods.
No, sir.
Boyce. It's just right outside of Boyce.
West of Alexandria.
It's a little bitty town. My great-grandfather, when he got up to go hunting, to provide for his family, he understood the wind direction. He understood wind speed, moon phases. He understood barometer pressures. He understood this because that's how he knew how animals moved on his homestead. So if he wanted to go kill a hog, he understood the environment and where those hogs would probably be. And he did that on deer hunting also. And that's how he provided for his family. We have totally lost that completely. We have. We just look at a picture going, I'm going to go sit that stand because that's where that animal's going
And
to
not
be.
understanding why.
And don't understand why.
Yeah.
Okay. So the data collector started out as I'm trying to help you understand the movement of animals on your place. And that gives you two things. One, it gives you a great understanding of how to be a conservationist of your property. That's the main thing. Understand what you have and how to conserve it. If I know I've got 5 bucks that are on my property and I know how they move and I know when they move, I can be sure I can pick one and not hunt the whole bunch and see whatever one comes out and shoot it. I can be very specific about the deer I want to hunt. So these cameras, you can be very specific and track that one animal. And I think that's what Dan did. He tracked that animal and said, he's coming out at 6 o'clock in this bottom on this day under these conditions, because unless Dan had done anything to put human intrusion in there, he's going to do the same thing over, because we see that.
On those conditions.
Under those conditions, because he's comfortable. He hasn't been upset.
See, I would have bet my farm that all of my deer moved on a southwest wind until I got these cameras. I don't have a buck picture on a southwest wind. 99% of my pictures of bucks are on a southeast wind that blows 3 to 9 miles an hour. Below 3 miles an hour, I don't get a buck picture on my property. Above 9 miles an hour, I don't get a buck picture on my property.
You listen to what I'm fixing to tell you.
Wind's your friend.
We have a lot of hunting friends, companions,
right,
acquaintances. And I would be willing to bet you that 20% of them don't pay any attention to, I bet you that deer comes in on a southwest wind. No. He's there because he saw a picture day before yesterday of that deer, and on the off chance he's going to go up there and that's what he's going to do.
Right.
What people are going to find out now about the WiseEye camera, and I'm not telling you it just hit me like you hit me over the head with a 2x4, but the cameras before did the same. It's down there on the bottom. It tells you how the barometric pressure,
all the conditions.
It's all there.
All the conditions, the temperature, or whatever.
Moon phase, all that.
Nobody, I'm telling you, where I grew up, this many of them would ever even put 2 and 2 together to even look at that stuff and say, he's here with the wind conditions in this way, with the temperature, the barometric pressures here, whatever. But when it's different than that, he's not here. And then all of a sudden, boom, when it got back to that same condition, there he is again. I'm telling you, you're going to open up a lot of people's eyes with this thing right here. A lot of people need to hear just what you said, because a lot of people's not paying any attention to that.
Well, I'm going to use one other property. It's only about, as a crow flies, 10 miles from my other property. The buck deer there move on a northwest wind only. Only. I mean, I got camera stays there all the time, and it's not on feed or anything. It's strictly in the woods. And the only time I see a buck in front of that camera is when I got a 3 to 9 mile northwest wind. And what's really sad, last year, my stepson, we had a giant for Louisiana, patterned. He's going to move at a certain time, and we went in there, and he got on one stand, and I got on the other. And at 8 o'clock, I heard his Alt-6 go off, and he didn't text me. So we sat there for about 30 minutes, and I couldn't stand it, so I texted him. He goes, "I'm sorry I missed." And he was sick, and I was sick, because this was a special deer.
But the deer still came through.
The deer walked through on a northwest wind on a movement pattern that he was supposed to move on, and my stepson just turned around, looked, and he was standing there looking at him, and he panicked.
I had a daughter did that. She sit in a stand all day. I mean, I dropped her off in the stand, and she even took her sandwich with her. She took her water and everything. She was prepared to stay from sun up to sundown. And about 4 o'clock, she had sat there all day. And then I heard, she got a text from her that said, "I'm fixing to shoot." And I texted her back, said, "Okay, baby, take your time, call your shot, let it rip." I heard the gun go off, and my phone went back off, and she said, "Missed." And so I texted her back and said, "How do you know you missed?" And she said, because he was still standing there when I opened my eyes. so it does happen sometimes, even to the best of us. But,
it does happen.
But like I said, why we did this, it was conservation. That's what we were focused on, trying to make sure that you understand your deer. It's not, I had an app 2 years ago that told me the deer were rutting, need to get to the stand. It was October 15th. You don't go to your stand on October 15th in Louisiana. You're going to die.
Yeah.
Mosquitoes and the sweat's going to get you. But the deer was rutting. But that's somebody else's idea. My deer don't rut till after Christmas. And I can see that and track that on these cameras. So that's why we built this. Main thing was we were working with the USDA. We were trying to build this thing for them. But it wound up being that we had to back up and build something for a camera that we had to produce ourselves, because what was out there could not produce what we were looking for in our imagination. Remember, it's everything. What we imagined my great-grandfather doing when he stepped on his front porch at 4 a.m. is he would take all the senses in, and he'd say, okay, I need to go over here today. Yeah. He understood that. We've lost it. I'm trying to put us back in that mode to where we can be that type of hunter and that kind of person in the environment, if that makes sense.
Well, it's immeasurable now. I mean, you can see it on the screen, on your
right
detailed picture that you're going to get. It's going to tell you all of the conditions.
Yeah. Yeah. There's even, once you get into the app, it even breaks it down even further than that. I can tell it or ask Hunt Control. And that's what I tell people. I said, Hunt Control is answering the questions you're trying to ask. Where do I need to hunt next week? What stand do I need to go to? What time does that guy come in? We had a guy last year that has a great testimony. The deer that he was after, called heavy horn, only moved on a south wind on a waning moon. He was not there on a full moon. Now, how many deer don't move on a full moon? This one did not. We don't know why, but a week after a full moon, we would see him every time on a waning moon. And he was always there between 4:30 and 6:30. And we have a picture of this guy. He actually looked at this and said, next Thursday. We looked and did all predictions and said, next Thursday is the opportunity. He is probably, unless something has spooked him, is going to be in that stand. Well, we have a picture of the deer on the ground at 5:30, south wind, waning moon, 50 degrees. We told him everything he needed to know about that deer. And what's great is the next picture we have, the guy is on his phone calling his dad, telling his dad that he skipped college that day to go kill the deer, so.
Because his camera told him.
Because his camera told him to. He actually drove from Arkansas to Texas to go kill that deer, but then I said the best picture is him telling his dad, I skipped class today.
But this is going to be for a lot of people that's not familiar with WiseEye. I mean, this is just a handy tool as your weapon that you use. I mean,
right here, I got it pulled up on my phone.
Is that just an analytical thing that?
That's my exact, I got my 22 cameras are sending that data to my phone. And if you look at that, when the wind is out of 352,000 deer pictures I've got in the last 5 years using my product, 100.
He said using my product. Okay, where is your product?
Yeah,
I see it on your hat. Did you not bring any?
Yeah.
Did I not bring any? I brought some for you.
Wait a minute. Let's talk about this analytic.
But here's the
thing. He said my product.
But it's not coming on your the picture that you're getting. It's coming on your phone,
and it shows you.
And it's transferring all the data along with that picture. Those 11 or 12 things that we are collecting when that picture is taken, we're handing it to you. How many times did you ever build like an Excel spreadsheet of all the data? No. I'm just taking that.
That's my job. Yeah.
So it takes all that data and basically builds a pie chart. This is what we know.
When people say deer don't move by the moon, look at this moon chart. The moon straight up and the moon straight down. Look at the deer movement.
So
I can't. You tell me what it says.
It's just showing.
What it says.
Showing movement like high.
If the moon is up straight overhead or straight under your feet, not at 8 o'clock in the morning, whenever that time.
We all have heard that. We all know that. This shows it.
It shows it perfectly because 90% of the deer movements here are here, no matter what time of the day it is.
Yeah. So what you've got is he's showing you the overall data, but you can break it down. And we do this when we do demonstrations. You don't hunt a farm. Dan's got, 30 cameras or something like that. I can be very specific and going, well, how do the deer move on this stand? And you'll find out that the deer on this stand are quite different from when they move on the other stand. I had a biologist told me, because we work with a lot of biologists because we ask a lot of questions, and I asked him, how many times does a deer eat a day? He said he's a mammal. He eats 3 times a day, just like you do. Problem is, we're trying to figure out where is he eating. And we will go sit at one stand 4 or 5 days, but they're over here eating. They're going to eat. They have to, especially in the wintertime to keep their body heat up. They're going to eat. It may be at night, but they're eating. All right. But we can look at this data and going, well, on the east wind, they go to this stand. But on the west wind, they will walk all the way around this place to go to this stand just because of the wind direction or wind speeds, moon phases. We got a great ranch in Texas that has some big cats. We got one video, a picture of a cat that was on top of the feeder, jumped off the feeder, killed the deer, and drug it over a hog fence. And they wanted me to come bow hunting with them, and I told them that's not going to happen.
And my phone didn't ring once.
So, but the deer will avoid that feeder on that type of moon constantly. They will not go back there at all. So we can watch at quarter moon. There will be no deer at that feeder. And they didn't know why. Well, these biologists are seeing that deer are very predictable if we know their environment, to where now those deer on a quarter moon will go about a quarter of a mile to a different feeder because we can identify the buck to a different feeder, and he eats there now on a quarter moon. He doesn't go back to this feeder anymore. They pretty much have to take the feeder down. Deer don't go there anymore.
So is your camera, is yours the only one? Because some of I have other trail cameras up, other brands. Mm-hmm. I have other apps on my phone right now that I could pull up and show you. Mm-hmm. And you've all seen them. You pull it up and it shows, company A, great camera, does good. It's giving me reporting. It's showing that I'm having a peak at whatever, but it's just showing me movement.
Yes.
There's like.
That's based on the lunar phase.
Well, and I'm talking that's based off pictures. Yeah, but I mean, you pull it up and it's showing me that I'm getting X amount of number of pictures, more pictures on this wind or this moon or whatever. Right.
Well, like I said,
yours, yours is able to go and look at specific deer. Is that what you're saying? Yes. You're able to follow a specific deer.
You have to help me with that. Okay. For instance, when you look at a deer, August, September, October, November, December, he's not the same animal to AI. You follow me? Because horns move, velvet, the thickness of the horns, he can break one off. So you have to help me. But I can do on my app and say, just show me the buck pictures. Right. And it sorts through your 10,000 pictures and just says, here they are.
Right.
Which one of these is important? Right. You say, oh, that's Bullwinkle, that's Charlie, that's George. And then it starts taking that data and starts making it. AI is not far enough along. We're working on that, but we haven't been able to figure out what a horn growth is, okay? Because they can break horns.
Oh, yeah.
They can be a drop time show up after the fact that we start tagging this deer. So we don't allow the system to do that. Remember, I'm looking for accurate data. So if I start getting inaccurate data, so I'm back to, I may as well just take pictures.
So I've got to be the one that when I go and I set these cameras up in Kansas next week, I'm going to go and I'm going to put these up. And when I start getting pictures of these deer, if I have just a mainframe perfect 10, I go in and I name him Crazy Dan.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that the process? Is I tag or name that deer in your app?
Yes. And then from here on out, when you're looking through pictures, a lot of guys just go, just show me the buck pictures. I don't care to see all the doe pictures.
Yeah, that's what my app.
Yeah,
I want to see the buck pictures. That's all they'll do is you just click on bucks and it just shows you the bucks. I can't point out Crazy Dan or.
Yeah. Now, it won't find out.
Nothing in particular.
No, we can't get there yet because Crazy Dan can look at this way and it understands, and then he can look at it this way, and he's different to AI. Okay, it's not like facial recognition where, if you ever watch facial recognition, you got to look at the camera a certain way. You can't be looking at the floor or whatever.
Right.
So that's some of the drawbacks or the limitations, I guess, of AI when it comes to deer classification.
But what you can do is every time you see that deer, tag that deer as Crazy Dan or whatever, and it starts building a profile on that deer, and it starts creating a data of wind speed movement, temperature movement, moon phase movement of that particular deer.
So is that how I get you mentioned earlier, who did you mention earlier talking about he tried to hunt this deer for 3 years?
Yeah, well, he's a big fishing guy. I don't have permission.
Yeah.
But he had a deer he's been hunting for a couple of years. And when he showed us the pictures, we're going, you can kill this guy. He's very easy. And we named him because he didn't track him. He was just, he's in the food plot. We got to go hunting, And when you talk to him, I said, what type of system are you using to kill this? Because he's a beast. What are you using to kill him? And he said, well, I've always heard my whole life is east is least and west is best. And I said, I don't know how scientific that is, but we'll put it to the test. So we went in, I pulled all his deer pictures up. I said, give me just the buck pictures. And we went in and tagged. I think he called him Charlie or something. So I said, here's Charlie, here's Charlie, here's Charlie, here. And I only did about 30 pictures. And then we started seeing Charlie. We started looking at the data. Charlie is only in that food plot in an east wind.
East is least. So he had it wrong.
He never hunted that hunt stand in an east wind. He would go to a different stand in an east wind. But he would look at the picture and just assume it was a west wind.
Well, a lot of the cameras out there now don't give you wind direction at all. They're not able to.
So we sat down and we looked at him, and I said, he's probably one of the best fishermen known out there. So he's, but I told him, I said, okay, let's do this. I said, he is going to be in the east wind. He comes in your food plot at 4:00. You got 4 days to prepare for him. Go move your stand. When the west wind's there tomorrow, go move your stand. So, because he's not going to be around, go move the stand. So he went and moved the stand to prepare for that east wind hunt. And I said, you stay out of there till Thursday after lunch. He's not going to be in the morning. He's going to be in the afternoon. And because he did that 10 straight times, and he went in there, I told him I think he was going to kill him at 6, I think, and he killed him at 4:30. And I was off an hour and a half in 2 years of killing the animal.
Dang you.
And he was a monster.
And he was a monster. And he was, in fact, I think it was on his fishing show. I mean,
it is. Yeah.
He's holding that monster. But Hunt Control and DC2 cameras actually showed him where he was miscalculating hunting that animal. And now he's actually has, when I talked to him the other day, he actually has 2 more target animals, and he has 3 cull bucks. So he is already targeting these 3 cull bucks for October 1st. And he's staying out of where these 2 guys go. So he doesn't spook them, because that he's going to take one of them in December after the rut. This is what this system is set up to do, is help you to manage your deer herd and help you sustain that system. In fact, right now we're working on the buck-doe ratio calculations that you can use these cameras on your property.
Oh, that's cool.
Because we can do these kind of things. Remember, imagination is everything. What else can we do? Well, how about we're working on some things like, how about we can identify a sick deer? Okay. How about we were up in Michigan, we were looking at maybe some of that EHD. How can we identify a buck with EHD early?
Well, let me ask you this. And I know there's some properties that hire some high-end biologists to come and do a deer study.
Yep.
A count.
Yep.
How many deer you have on your property, excluding a drone.
Mm-hmm.
They do a camera survey.
Yes.
Is this a way that you can?
You can do it on your own. You can do it on your own. You don't need to bring in your biologist. No.
Because it gives you all the data. You got all the data on your laptop or on your phone.
We took.
Yeah, but you can identify. Really and truly, you can identify every deer on your property.
Correct.
Theoretically.
So with the hunt control, there's things that go on behind the scenes that you don't know about. We count deer. We could count deer. We know how many deer's in that picture. So we know how many does are in that picture. We know how many bucks are in that picture. And according to like I said, the biologists, they have to go in and pour this big pile of corn out there, and they put cameras, and then they count deer. They count how many does is there and how many bucks is there every day for, I think it was 10 days or something like that. And then they build we can do that now just in hunt control.
But, but a lot of them too, though, you can count deer in one picture.
Right.
But let's say you've got 5 cameras, and these deer are visiting every food source you've got, and it's the same deer. I mean, before it's over with, you got 300 deer on a half acre.
Yep.
Yeah.
But this will let you know, no, that's the same deer over and over and over again.
The same thing it goes, and Nolan, you'll figure this out when you start putting them out. We calculate deer numbers in a couple ways. Number of images and then minutes of activity. There's a big difference between the two. I can have 2 does standing at a feeder for 30 minutes, and your camera take 20 pictures. I don't have 40 deer.
Right.
I got 2 old does that's been standing there for 30 minutes empty in my feeder. So when it takes a picture, it looks and goes, well, that's probably the same too, because we're 1 minute apart. There's still 2 deer here. There's 2 deer. That's the same 2. So this is where we go this is why we are different. We're trying to figure out exactly what's here, not just, I got to figure that out. I'm trying to do this for you. So we do the counting too. So minutes of activity is great if you're on a feeder. If you're on a trail, cameras, the number of pictures work fine. Videos, we're the only guy that can identify an animal in a video. So if you're running videos, it tells you there's a deer in the picture, there's a coon in the picture, or in the video. So we're trying to not miss the data for you to be that conservation hunter on your property, if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. That's cool, though. That's cool. That's eye-opening, actually.
Well, remember, imagination is everything. What else can you do? We just finished the new deer feeder. These things is probably the most sophisticated deer feeder you've ever seen in your life. Where this camera, or any of our cameras, even the old camera you have, communicates with the feeder, and you tell it you only want to feed deer. You only want to feed bucks out of this feeder, but you want the does to feed over here. You only want to open it 30 minutes before sunrise and 30 minutes after sunset. If rain touches it, close the doors. So these feeders that are coming out are really something. We've had lots of fun with them. We've only showed it to 2 ranches in Texas, and they've already pre-ordered 400.
So is this something that's already, is this one of the updates you're talking about that's low key?
No, they're coming. They're out. We actually showed.
Say that. What? That's top secret stuff.
That's what I was asking.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
He's going to unleash it all.
Okay.
Yeah, we're talking about the
updated
just
stuff. Don't let everybody know there's some other top secret stuff. We're going to do another one of these when the top secret
when the top secret comes out?
He's about to talk about the top secret.
We think the top secret fits come out. So
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you bruised my arm for nothing. I got poison ivy on that arm too.
We're not going to release this, he said, for 2 weeks, so we can talk about it later. It's not going to.
That's why we're not releasing it for a couple
no, I
weeks.
thought there was something else that you were working on. For what I understood the conversation that we had.
That's going to be later. Yeah.
There's some big stuff coming out.
See, I just did it.
Yeah.
We're not talking about
You tricked me on that.
Yeah. Right. But we tell you, the feeders, though, the feeders are actually being built out. And we actually showed them in Midland, Odessa in April, I think, with the Texas Trophy Hunter show there. And people were going, it does what? I said, you can tell it what you want to feed. You can use this for cattle feeders if you want to keep your hogs out your feed. This can be a sheep feed. It doesn't matter what you want to feed with this machine. You can feed your dogs with it. I just want to feed the dogs. Leave the cats out. So it's amazing where we remember is the imagination is everything. What do we do? And to get back to some of the things we're adding to this camera, imagination is everything. Why do I want to build another camera? When we built this camera 2 years ago, we added things in there like action shots. And what that means is your trophy comes out. You can just sit there on your phone going, I know you got a camera up here, but how about a camera down there? So you can tell that camera to come on, and it'll shoot a 5-minute high-definition video of your shot. And you can turn as many cameras as you want. You can put 4 or 5 around your food plot, turn them all on, going, I'm fixing to shoot. Film it.
With all those different angles. We actually did that. My wife and I were actually working with Dr. Mark Lashley, which is Dr. Turkey, I guess, like the Dr. Deer is Dr. Turkey. He's head of the turkey research in the University of Florida. We were actually down in Florida helping him trap turkeys. And we had a net and poured some corn out. And I had 4 DC-2s I put around the net for the University of Florida. We was going to film this for them. And when those turkeys came in, I turned those cameras on. And I got some video I'll be glad to show you. And he fired that net. And that's the coolest thing you saw. We had 4 videos of the net trapping the turkeys. If you ever been involved in something like that, you're not ready for the cannon fire. I'm serious. You're in a peaceful environment down in Florida, and all of a sudden these 4 cannons go off. It gets your attention. And you have to run out there and protect the turkeys. Osceola turkey will beat the snot out of you under a net. So we've learned. So we learned, but we were able to catch that moment.
Yeah.
On 4 different angles. That's the DC-2 camera. Now here's this is how we think. Imagination is everything. MC2 cameras, that's my father's camera, okay, the little one, okay? We actually put that data and that chipset in that camera 2 years ago because we said, what would be great if we can ever figure out the technology in the servers to be able to take the MC2 camera? So in a couple of weeks, every MC2 camera that has been sold will have action shot on it. All you got to do is download the firmware, and all the little cameras now can do the same thing as this one.
So you do not have to go, and this is what he's talking about. This is part of the reason we're not releasing this episode for a few weeks. You're able to get the hate to call it cheaper camera, but the smaller camera. I'm not trying to lower the what it is, but anyhow, you're able to get the smaller MC2 camera. You don't have to buy a new one. All you got to do is just to go and update the camera, and then it's just as good as
and you update it through your phone.
Oh, yeah. I want you to stay out the woods. I don't want you to go whatever SD card. Man, mosquitoes get us this time of year. We're not doing that. Just hit a button and it updates your camera. So all those thousands and thousands of MC2s that are out there, we're going to update their cameras, if they want to, of course, to be able to run the same action shot like this camera. Okay, now, so what makes the difference between the two? Well, what's the big thing out there? It's called the live shot. You want to be able to look out the lens. Okay. That's in all our DC-2s. We put that in there 2 years ago. We have to build servers, and you have to do stuff because we do stuff behind the Amazon firewall. We have to do certain things, and we just couldn't get it done soon enough. We tried to get it done in March of this year, but we've had to push it back for some things. So all the DC-2s that are out there now will be able to update to live view
in 2 weeks from today.
Yeah, about 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah.
So as you're listening to this, if you have a DC-2,
well,
it's going to come with it.
We know it's coming out.
Update it.
We should have it. We're waiting on some things for the servers and stuff to be built up. It'll be done before August 1st. I know that. So we went to the 4 weeks or so.
Yeah.
So it'll be done. So every DC-2 that's been sold at Spotted Dog or 2 years ago can update it to do live shot or live. We call it live eyes, where you can look out the lens. You don't have to buy a new camera. Remember, imagination is everything. What if? Yeah. What if we build a camera that does everything else? We're already thinking 3 years from now and what technology is going to be 3 years from now. Some of that is already in these cameras that we have talked ahead. So you can use your imagination on that. What does it look like?
Yeah.
These DC2s already have that in there.
So just to kind of break it down just a little bit, he's not going, or WiseEye, they're not going and putting this in there 2 years ago and just waiting a few years for no reason for a release date. No. They're essentially, think of it almost as like a gate. They're going, or a door. Think of it like a door. They're going and building a door inside of this camera now. So in 3 years, once they finish the technology and they get it ready for market or ready to go out, they're able to go and push it through that door essentially.
So the next time you buy a camera, it's not because it's got the new stuff. It's because you need another camera somewhere else on your product.
Right. The whole idea, remember, it's not about, to us, it's not about the transaction. Selling cameras. It's about the customer success. And that's a big difference for us. That's why we don't fool a lot with big box stores. It's a transaction to them. When you see the guy walk out the door with a camera, I was actually in a big box store, and it dawned on me when I watched him walk out the door, is that the man who owns that company really could care less if that guy comes back or not, or if he ever turns that camera on. That's not the guy I care to sell cameras through. That makes sense? Spotted Dog, he cares about his customers when they walk in there. It's good morning. How you doing? What can I help you with? Let me show you some new technology. Let me show you mine. This is the guy that we want to partner with, not the guys who want just a transaction. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah. But this is something you're going to have to show somebody if they're not already.
If they're not educated on
this. If they're not educated on it.
Yeah. This product is sold. It's not bought. You go to Walmart, you buy things. You go to a car dealership, you're sold a car. These things are sold. Because it's hard. I had a guy in Midland, after we showed him the demo, and the guy's just shaking his head. He bought 40 cameras, and he's just shaking his head going, why don't you advertise this? I'm going, if you can take what I just told you and put it on that box, I'll give you the 40 cameras. He said, let me think about it for a minute. And he come back later going, it ain't going to happen.
No.
There's just no way to put all that on.
You're not going to understand it.
No, you're not going to understand.
That's right.
So because if you look at the noise that are in the trail camera industry, and I did this the other day, so I make sure I had all my out of the 6 brands out there, 4 of them had we're the leader in technology. They're taking pictures. They've been doing that since 1830. There's no leader here. But 4 of the 6 boxes said, we are leading in technology. I would venture to say probably not, but that's a marketing scheme. It's just like the picture size. I was in one store not too far from here. I heard the sales rep tell the guy, buy this camera because it has a 48 megapixel picture. Well, that's the most asinine thing. There is no such thing as a 42 megapixel lens that goes in a camera. My wife has a 16 megapixel Canon camera, and it costs $3,000. That lens is not in that camera for $99. It's not there. I
hate to say that, but if it says it's got a lot of pixels in it, I'm in.
Yeah.
Pixel, I like that word.
That's a marketing word.
More we have, it's got to be better.
Explain the misnomer.
I'm going to start taking it more often.
So what happens when it takes a picture, depends on what they call it, a sensor. So depending on what size that sensor, and it takes a picture, and then it's small, and then they take software and they'll blow it up 20 times. You ever zoom in and see why it's pixelated? That's why, because they took that picture and go, okay?
It's not very clear.
And it loses they try, in other words, here's a red dot here, then they'll put 12 red dots around it. And then here's a blue dot, and they'll try to put 12 blue dots around it. And so that's why megapixels is nonsense, really. Because unless you have the lens to take that picture, it's not a true picture. It doesn't mean anything. So, when I get a big kick walking down, I'm waiting for somebody to come out with a 120 megapixel picture. I'm waiting for it. Just to see.
Have you seen my wife's camera, the one she carries to Africa that's this long and all that? It's got 16 in it.
But it probably costs $5,000.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And I'm the one that has to tote it on the plane because I put it in the backpack because you don't put nothing like that in a suitcase. Right. But just what I'm toting weighs 20 pounds, her camera and lens. Put that on a tree.
Yeah.
And it's not going to happen.
Yeah. So I'm saying, it's funny when I walk through those stores and I read. I like to read the boxes, and we get a good laugh out of them sometimes about, oh, we're leading this and we're leading that, and all, we're taking these bigger pictures, and you're just like, but it's a marketing thing. So we try not to get into that noise. We just don't. And so we just say, hey, this is what we do. We're not for everybody, and I understand that. I mean, our ranches that we run out there, Greystone Castle, some of these big ranches, that guy can sit down, Jimmy can sit down and see where every black buck, buffalo, kudu, elk, everything he's got at 8 o'clock, because he's got paying clients coming in, because we identify all those animals. He knows where they're at. He knows where they're at in the ranch. People get there, they get out there and go hunt. But that's what he uses this for, is because the data is what he's after, not the pictures.
There's a lot of people that spend a lot of money every year on leases,
yes.
feeders, stands.
Right.
This would be a mighty big tool for them.
This is just another tool.
And the guy that doesn't spend that much money either on his property or whatever.
Well, you even take a public land hunter, the information that you can get off these cameras is phenomenal. Because I got them running on public land. I keep them out there year round.
Right.
I'm sitting here looking at all the stuff.
You pulled it up the website and started looking?
Yeah, I've been looking at it for a minute, and
one of the biggest things we've done for the users this year is we started a ranch program. Okay, we calculated out that if you're running 10 cameras from anybody, not just ours, but from anybody, and you're running their unlimited plans, you're probably losing half your money because you're not even coming close to what you're spending. So remember, imagination is everything. What could we possibly do for the user? And one of the commercials I was watching, I don't know, a football game or something, but one of the commercials came up, pay for with the emu thing, pay for what you use.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So I went back to the office the next day going, I got probably the dumbest suggestion they're going to have today is, can we build a program that people pay for what they use? Now, that's unheard of in the industry because they're subscription-based.
Right.
Okay? And, of course, the guys in the office going, well, we'll look into it. We'll see. I mean, we're a technology company. We should be able to figure this out. So my best thing to do is I just let them go. Close the door, let them go in there and let them dig around. And then 3 or 4 days later, he comes back to me and says, yeah, we can do this. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this I see cluster all over this one. And so what we did is we went out and said, okay, if you got 10 cameras, and if you're running a subscription, unlimited, you're paying anywhere from $11 to $15 a camera.
I'm $16 a camera on mine right now.
$16 a camera. You got 10 cameras. That's $160. All right. Let me tell you how bad you're getting run over here. We will tell you, we'll if you got 10 cameras, to activate each camera costs $6. So your base cost is $60. Okay. Data is cheap, and this is where a lot of the cell cameras get you. Data is cheap. The activation cost is more than the data. If you take 10,000, and we're talking about of our high definition pictures, not the ones you got to pay, the ones that we use normally, that costs you $10 for 10,000 high definition pictures. So you take your 10 cameras at $6 and you shot 10,000 pictures. I send you a bill for $70. Case closed.
at the end of the month once you get it.
Yes. We bill you for it. Now, what we do is usually you have a credit card on file. In Louisiana, the laws in Louisiana, I think, state we have to send you an invoice. We just can't take your card. We have to send you an invoice. We have to wait 10 days. If you do not respond, then we run your $70. If you want to add a camera, you just go buy a camera and add it to your plan. You don't have to ask me. You don't have to change your subscription. You just add a camera. We're a technology company. I know you got it. I know the data you're running. So you would have a $66. Okay. Now here's the thing that we struggled with. So what happens when turkey season comes and Nolan only wants to run 5 cameras? So what do you do now? My deal, remember, imagination is everything. I imagine Nolan would probably only want to pay for 5 cameras. So I sent them back into the drawing board, figured out how to make this work. They came back a couple weeks later and said, here we go. Nolan turns off 5 cameras. We're only going to bill him for 5 cameras times $6. That's $30. And he takes 2,000 pictures. That's $2 more. We send him a bill for $32. That's it.
Are you able to go can these cameras only take pictures of turkey if I want it to?
No, it takes pictures of everything.
Okay. So it's true motion activated, but it deciphers or I guess separates.
Yeah. Yes. We are actually looking at our next that will do that. Just let's let it go.
We'll just leave it.
I can say I only want the challenge you've got here is technology is not always perfect. And if I miss a turkey and the thing of it is I need to report to you, I took 40 pictures today of nothing. I need to tell you that. I just don't need not to send them, but I have to send you a report. I think I took 5 deer today, 2 bears, and 50 birds. And if you want to go look at them, excuse me, you can, but we won't let you know that we took a bunch of pictures and you only got 1 turkey. You follow me?
Yeah.
So we're looking at that. But the thing of it is with the ranch program, and this is the thing the next meeting was, okay, Nolan wants to turn them all off. What happens? And my son-in-law looks at me and says, then he gets a bill for 0. So this is the ranch program. I think this is going to be revolutionary in the industry because we're the only one that do that.
Yeah, because if you think about it, right now on $160 a month is what you're paying. You could get 10 of these cameras and have 100,000 pictures
every 30 days.
Yeah, I went through and looked through some of the coverts that we have right now, and they're set up for 1 minute, and we got them in food plots and on feed, 3,200, 3,400 at the most is what I went back and looked through all the months.
So if it's
per camera, 3,000 pictures per camera.
Per camera, so that's 30,000 pictures a month.
$3.
30.
No, yeah, $30 is $10.
So you got $60, and then you got 30. So we would send you a bill for 90. That's it. If you bumped it up to a minute and a half, you might only pay $80. So it's up to you how you use the data. We're not going to tell you how to use the data. Data's yours. You're buying it. So there's no limits anymore for the ranch program. So if you want to run videos take more data. You could probably run 3,000 videos for $10. You follow me? How do you want? I'm not going to say you got to pay me this to run the videos. You got to pay me this to get high definition pictures. You got to pay me this to do this. It's your camera. It's data. What do you want to do with it?
You just figure out the data. We're going to charge you for the data you use.
What do you want to do? How do you want to hunt? What do you need to see? What do you need to understand? I'm not going to tell you how to do your job. You're trying to hunt and be a conservationist of your property. What do you need this camera to do? That make sense?
Absolutely.
Now, our next step, remember we said on August 1st, we are trying very desperately, and I think we're going to get it. I asked them today one more time in the meeting, is that this ranch program, and I'll say this here, and it's the first time it's ever heard, will be available to everyone on September 1st. We will do away completely with subscriptions. There will not be a subscription. So the guy who has 1 camera that comes in your store and buys it, when he turns it on, it's $6. And if he only takes 1,000 pictures, he only pays $7 that month. And if he turns it off, he pays nothing. We're a technology company. we can do these things. Okay.
I mean, that's one of the biggest selling. I mean, that's
Yeah.
one of the biggest selling points out of everything you said to a lot of people is,
There are 3 or 4 camera.
I mean,
guys.
money talks. So
But
if you're
money-
talking about
Yeah.
$6 plus $1 of data or whatever it is, that's
We get asked that a lot.
Well, that's the first thing they ask us when they come, when we,
What is the plan?
yeah. When they come to us at a trade shows, the first question they have been conditioned to ask is, what
much?
is your unlimited plan? But dude, you're not going to shoot enough pictures for an unlimited plan. And then
that's what I asked you the other day when I was asking.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
called and asked you about it.
you're not going to shoot enough for unlimited plans. It's just not going to work that
I
way.
mean, even running the amount of cameras I run, I think the highest usage I ever had was $37 on 22 cameras
And that's
above my camera cost.
And just so everybody know, like that's going to vary depending on
Sure.
how much video you're transmitting.
it's the data.
It's the data. The more data that you're sending over, the more you're going to be billed. If you got it every 10 seconds, 1 minute, 5 minutes, or you throw
Now
video
on my
in the mix, it's going
feeders,
to be different.
on my feeders, which I run 3, I got it every minute, 24/7, pictures only. Every scrape, I got a 10-second video on. So the 90% of my cameras are out there on scrapes. You don't get 50 pictures a day.
Yeah.
If you do, you're lucky. But I mean, so that's why I run video on that.
Yeah, remember I told you, data is cheap. The activation cost is way more than the data is, okay? So we're just going to back up and say that's the most asinine thing to say, to charge these people that much money to take a picture. Money's tight. We get it. This is the best way we can help you. We're going to give you a camera that we figure is the best in the industry. The clarity of the pictures is nothing compares to them if you ever look at them and see what they do. The technology behind the identification of the animals, how we do things of that nature, is untouchable. Nobody even comes close. We're the only ones that does videos not on demand. If you just want a video, it shoots videos and send them to you. You don't have to pay for that. It's just part of it's whatever you want to do with the camera. And now we're going to back away from subscriptions because that is probably the cash cow to every company out there. WiseEye, and don't take this the wrong way, cares about that. Remember we talked about earlier of how we grew up,
right,
and how we were raised. We want to make a living. I'm not out to go buy a ranch somewhere and retire. I'm not going to leave anywhere. We're not going to sell the company. We're not going nowhere. We don't owe anybody any money. We only have one boss that we answer to, and that's the good Lord. That's right. He is the only one who directs our path. And every morning I get up, I know that I was able to wake up, that I have a purpose today. And I know when God's finished with me, I won't wake up no more. Today, I'm running WiseEye, and Dan knows, he'll come in, we'll have breakfast. We don't eat donuts without saying prayer over them. Right. Even though they're not healthy for you, we still pray for those things. Hopefully that'll change some of it.
And they pray for me over coffee, but
we're trying to change that donut sugar to something else, but if it can, but that's who WiseEye is. Yeah. And that's why we're a little different from what's out there, if that makes sense. So,
well, look, I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
So I'm right there at the tree. I've got my camera on. I've got my phone out.
Okay.
And I just forgot everything you just said.
Okay.
All right. So I call the number.
Okay.
Tell me the process. Tell me who I'm talking to. What?
We have a team in our office. That's all they do. We call them the customer. We don't have a customer support team. It's a customer success team. I have given them full authority to make whatever decision needs to be made to make sure that customer is taken care of. They don't have to call and ask me, can we replace the camera? You just replace the camera if it's bad. It's not your job to fix the camera at the tree if it didn't come on. That's my job. They send you a new camera. You put the old one in a box and you send it to me. We'll figure it out. Okay.
Is that something that and I'm not they know I'm not
Right.
a technical guy by
Right.
any means, but is that something y'all can see on your end?
Yes. We can see everything. We see everything on our.
What are you talking about? You talking about the camera not working?
Yes.
Yes, we can see a lot of that because the camera. And it gets back. We're a technology company. These cameras call us and tell us everything that's going on, so we can see a malfunction in that camera. So, but sometimes we don't see it because the malfunction can happen after something. You know, a battery can blow up in them. You follow me? And then we call instant death. You know, I had a guy. Here's a great example. I had a guy call me the other day. He was irate. Oh gosh, I had to use all the talent that I've learned in all these years of customer interactions, and he was irate with me that this camera does not work. And I said, well, sir, what happens? And he said, when I turn it on, it'll flash and go off. So the camera's broke, and I'll demand a new camera. I went, okay, that's fine. He said, this is brand new batteries out of the pack. I said, yes, sir. I said, this was Saturday. I'm doing tech support calls on Saturday now. And so I think Dan has seen this camera. I sent him a brand new camera out of the box. And I said, look, when you get it, I overnighted him. Cost me a lot of money. I overnighted him a camera. He got it Monday. And I said, put that camera in the box just the way it is and send it back to me. Because I got to figure out if something happened to that camera. And he was happy with that answer. Well, I got that camera on that following Wednesday, and I opened the box, and I took out that camera, and I opened it up. I busted laughing. My brother comes in and goes, what's so funny? And I turned the camera around. He had Radio Shack batteries in his camera. Radio Shack's been out of business for 15 years.
Oh, my word.
But they were new in the pack. And I tell my guys in the customer success, the customer is not always right, but he has an opinion and wants to be heard. And you are to hear that. So when you call the office, understand, in Louisiana, we speak 2 languages. We speak English and really bad English. All right. So it depends on which one you get. But I have people that stationed there all the time. They have complete control. They can look at the camera. They can look at the diagnostics and stuff on that camera while you're standing there, or you can tell them to go look at it through the system. And they have complete control to say, well, let me restart it for you. Let me do this. I think we need to replace those cameras. You got another one coming. After hours, I have about 7 or 8 people that do nothing. We have a chat box on the website. They do nothing but monitor that chat box almost 24 hours a day.
And we have it on Facebook also.
Yeah, we have 8. I have about 7 people on Facebook. You don't really know them because they don't identify themselves as WiseEye. They're just normal people that help us. We have a thing, it might be something you want to attend. We have a thing called WiseEye University. We do it twice a year in Baton Rouge. People who want to come in to see WiseEye and get a better understanding of what we do. We bring them in. We take them through who we are. We let them take cameras apart. We let them know how the cameras work. We take them through the whole process of how we set things up. We actually teach them, here's our support system. Here's the top 30 questions we get. This is how we answer them. We do all this stuff with them just so now they're comfortable. When they leave there, they pretty much are employee. Now they know as much as my guys in the back, but they're just normal people that are out in the community.
Nobody does that.
And we have a group on Facebook, WiseEye Customer Success, and anybody can get on there and type in a question or a problem or issue or whatever. One of those guys is going to see it almost immediately and give you an answer.
Yeah, we have we have,
and then we have chat groups and everything else, but we have that one page.
But we train
for that.
We train people outside of WiseEye to support because they just love to help people. So we have a big support group that we train outside. And we do this with resellers too. We'll bring resellers in that want to understand how this thing works and how do we work. We bring them in. Some of these guys we had a bunch in from New York, I think, and Pennsylvania last time. So we took them to eat some Cajun crawfish. I thought they was going to blow up. You know, they wasn't ready for the cayenne pepper that was in that pot. So, no, but we do that twice a year. If any of your listeners are interested, they're welcome to. We bring them in, we put them up in the hotel, and we give them a WiseEye course for 3 days.
How many cameras do you have out? Not just these, but just your cameras in general that transmit data, pictures?
Transmit data. Well, we started back, 75, probably 80,000, probably.
It's a lot of cameras.
It's a lot of cameras. We don't advertise a lot.
I don't know if I've ever seen any of
We don't.
y'all's advertising.
We're just now starting advertising. The reason we don't advertise, remember, it's Dad, myself, my brother, and Don. There's 4 of us that own WiseEye. And we'll sit down going, okay, how many cameras can we afford to make this year? Okay. Remember, we don't borrow money. What have we got? What can we do? And we got, okay, we can buy 20,000 cameras over the next 3 months, and another 20, another 50, another 80 as we scatter them out. We use our own money, okay? And the book of Proverbs says, stay within your means. Don't go borrow money. If you read Proverbs on how to run a business, it says don't borrow money. And my father, who's probably one of the most godly men you'll ever be around, looked at us and said, you're not borrowing money. If good Lord wants this thing to go, he'll let it go. And this is where we're at. 6, 7 years of running WiseEye, plus we started this in 2010 with the technology. We have had a ball. It's nothing like your whole family on Saturday afternoon in Dad's sweatshop with a fan in August trying to figure out, will this thing shock you enough to hurt you, or is it just going to get your attention? And my brother and I several times would look at these machines that we're trying to build and going, I don't know if it's working or not. You touch it. Daryl goes, I'm not going to touch it. You touch it. We didn't realize my dad would touch it. The problem is he'd put his arm around you.
Oh, it'd pop you too.
We learned how electricity flows through people.
And just for clarification, in case you forgot 30, 40 minutes ago, he's not talking about the cameras.
No,
he's talking about the feeders to deter hogs.
Yeah, we're not going to
10 foot
we're not going to do that to the camera. No.
What are some of the components of this? You've hit on this just a little bit, but one thing that stuck out to me, or really anybody that gets a trail camera, I feel like a lot, they're mass produced. That's no secret. They're all mass produced. And I'm not talking about yours. I'm talking about just trail cameras in general.
Right.
You told me on the phone, but share here. What are some of the things that you do to, like, quote unquote, future proof this, where you can run this camera for, how long have you said you've had yours up in Africa? 4 years, 5 years?
What have we had?
Been a while.
So it's been a long time.
Yeah.
What are some of the components? I ain't looking for names specifics, but
sure.
What are some of the things you're beefing up in this camera to get where it lasts?
One of the main things that we ran in the cameras, and when we tested cameras, is the fact that they tend to absorb moisture. Okay, that comes because the heat causes them to warp, and then the cold causes them to shrink, and now we don't have a good seal anymore. Most plastic on cameras are rated for about 130 to 140. That's the normal plastic range. The plastic we use here is scheduled at 160, so they don't warp. They hold their shape in cold and heat because of the plastic is different. It's just a different type of plastic. And as you can tell, it's heavier camera because the plastic is thicker and heavier than normal plastic. That's one thing. 2 things, the lens is very expensive in this camera versus a normal lens, because I have to get the picture I need to be able to run analytical data on. Can't scrimp on that. The other thing you can't scrimp by on is the modem. It has to be beef enough to where the communications with the 5G towers is fast. And some of the cameras that are out there now have trouble communicating with these towers because it will say hello, and before the camera can answer back, it's done hung up and said nobody's home. You know, as you've probably seen that, I've heard it. Sometimes all the pictures don't go because it's too fast. So you have to have a modem built for that speed. So that modem in there is a very expensive modem for that purpose. It's being used. It can be used anywhere in North America. We don't need a camera for Canada. We don't need a camera for Mexico. It works fine. And then we have another camera that has an even bigger modem in it that works everywhere in the world. We have cameras now in New Zealand. We have them in South Africa. We have them in Ireland. We have them in Sweden. Taking pictures. I didn't know they had moose in Sweden. We had a picture the other day of a moose, must have been 7 foot tall in Sweden.
No.
I didn't know those. But
Dan, do you have property there?
Not yet.
no, yeah. If he saw the
But
moose,
I know a guy.
But if he's, yeah,
I bet you
but
do.
I'm afraid if Dan saw the moose picture, he would probably be headed to Sweden. Yeah. So we're actually starting to look at distributorships outside the United States because the camera is on such a demand in what we do. Just think of what's going on in South Africa right now. The people we're working with, there's such a need to be able to identify people and know that that camera, as soon as it sees a person, your phone's going off. There's a person here. My camera's in my yard. I don't care about the deer, but if a person walks in my yard or a vehicle drives around my house, my cameras are pinging my phone. You need to take a look at this.
I was going to ask you about security or something like that.
So inside the app, you can tell it, I want you to ping my phone if you see a deer. I want you to ping my phone if it's a deer with only antlers. I don't care about doe pictures, but if a buck walks in here, let me see it, okay? If a person walks in front of my camera, I want to see it. We have, right now, we're close to 15 wildlife and fisheries that are using these to catch poachers.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
that's why they use them in South Africa with that people mode.
We have also we're signed a contract with the IWC, which is the International Wildlife.
I would say conservation, but
no, it's not conservation.
That'd be too easy.
It's got to do with oh gosh, now I just went brain dead. Not counterintelligence. So it's something.
Not conservancy.
No, but it's basically where all the 50 wildlife and fisheries.
Crime Stoppers. International Wildlife Crime Stoppers.
Crime Stoppers, yeah. Is where they're using our cameras as their system to be able to catch these criminals. I hate poachers. I just want them gone. That's not what I remember. I'm in the conservation. You're out there shooting these things.
It's not good.
Not good.
And,
yeah. So they've got these cameras set up to where if it sees a person, in fact, Grant Parish Sheriff Department uses them to watch certain houses. And
the houses.
So because I asked,
they may have wild game there.
Yeah, but it's a certain house.
So I'm not going to tell you what kind of houses they're watching, but they're sitting around the corner with their app open, and when a car drives up or a person walks up to that house, the phone dings, and they look at it going, "Okay, guys, it's time to go."
So rhymes with track.
Yeah. Yeah. What kind of? So we've got about 5 different parishes here in Louisiana using them for crime.
That's awesome.
You know, and so like I said, we built it. So remember, it comes to our imagination. What can we do? You know, so we put people in there because who knows who needs that.
So why you have 2 antennas right here?
Okay. Why?
Yeah, why do you have 2 antennas? And I'm going to get into the actual services, the 20 plus after that. Yeah, sure.
But why do we have 2 antennas? Well, there's a thing called DBI, which is the industry standard for the power of a cell phone. Or most cell phones have a 1 dBi, and what that means is that if you set the camera in the center, you could draw about a 2.5 mile, like a beach ball around it. It goes 2.5 miles one way, 2.5 miles. So it's kind of a beach ball. That's why when you're driving down the interstate, you'll notice that towers on the interstate are about 5 miles apart. If you ever notice that, you'll see that because cell phones have a 1 dBi. So that's when it jumps from tower to tower. Okay. And if there's not, or your phone's weak and it's a little less than 1, you'll drop a call between the 2 towers. Okay. So The DC2 is about 8 to 10 dBi. It's big. It's a big boy, okay? But what it does is that it takes this beach ball and squeezes it from the top. And it makes more of a football shape, okay? So now I'm not going as high and as low, but I'm going further out.
You're not wasting that range.
I'm not wasting that range. So now I'm going 10 miles both direction, okay? Now, what makes it special about this camera is these are directional antennas. So let's say my camera's sitting here and near the tower. If I do the antennas like this, now this football, okay, is turned this way. So when I'm getting in the woods, it's good to know where the towers are at because you can make this camera be more directional for better So if I think about this, so if I'm running my antenna this way and the tower's over here, my football shape is going this way.
Right.
Okay. So you got people going, well, my camera won't connect. Well, where's the tower? Or are they going, well, I think it's over here. Well, turn your antennas this way. And they go, holy smoke, I got 5 bars.
Yeah.
Never knew that.
Well, that's how it works. Like on Starlink, go ahead.
No. Are all antennas made that? I mean, their shapes pretty
They're
similar.
shaped like
Some
that.
are
But
like,
remember, it's not the antenna. It's this beast in here that drives these antennas. It's the modem that drives the antennas. So if this is just a 2 dBi type modem, it's all it's going to do. That's all these guys can do.
You talking about the football shape? Is that what you're referring to?
no. The flat part facing the
Yes,
tower.
I'm talking about like
Yeah,
that football shape, that the signal,
Yeah.
that invisible football shape. That's
Yeah.
what you're talking about. Are all of them, I guess, directional, like front and back?
Directional.
Yeah.
Yes.
Depending on that modem. Remember, if the modem only does 2-3 dBi, the football is still more like just a beach ball.
Gotcha.
I mean, it's still doing a
Yeah.
round area. Yeah. Now, like I said, within reason, even if it's like this and the tower's a mile or 2 away, it still works. I don't have a problem. But like the guys in South Dakota, these towers are 20 miles away. Yeah. There you go. I'm squeezing that football and pointing it that direction.
So that's what I was saying. So like Starlink, we went at my father-in-law's house. We went up there, and I got a funny picture. I think I'll show you. Me and Mr. Lamar leaned over that roof trying to install it. But you go on the app on there, and you essentially go, and you're holding your phone up like this, pointing in the right direction.
Right.
If you don't have it yet, I know your answer is going to be it's coming. Do you have that yet where you can find the towers in the app? Because I can't think of right now how I would find the towers.
But there's
being in the woods.
AT&T and
There's apps out there you can put on
AT&T
your
and
phone.
Verizon actually have a app called
I'm trying to think of it.
it's fine. You can look at it's called Find Cell Tower. They've located all their towers on there. There's
Never knew it existed.
Open Signal is called. Open Signal is a tower that's an app made that finds your towers. You can actually be standing at your location, like it's a tree, and hit Open Signal, and it will actually find the towers and then tell you which is the best tower to use.
Nah,
Yeah, those are out there.
unaware of that.
Those are out there already.
Yeah, there it is. Open Signal. It's the app.
Yeah, we tell that to everybody who comes to us. They say, "Well, where's my tower?" Well, there's a free app that they made just for that.
Hey, look, and I was about to, we were going, maybe one day next week, we were getting a truck and we was going to make this big loop out there to find out where our cell towers were at.
Borrow my drone trying to.
there you
trying
go.
to
I
locate
Borrow
it.
your
have no
drone.
idea.
Yeah.
So you need to point the flat. If this
flat,
is the tower right here,
Then-
you need
then-
to point the wide
this-
flat part.
You want to know why
towards-
these bend? Because of that reason right there.
That way they're both pointing towards it.
Grabbing it all.
Yeah. So people, say, why don't you just have 10? Is it for them to break? No, it's for that.
Oh,
Okay.
that way they're not.
I've been there.
We're learning all kind of stuff right here.
That's
If the camera's set up to do that directional.
This camera is.
yeah. These are.
We need to go to WiseEye school.
But well,
I mean, we're kind of
When's your next class?
when's the next university?
That's
Yeah. Well, I'll get-
So with that, the cameras that we are currently running right now, they do great if you're in, I guess, bandwidth, or if you're within reach of
Of
AT&T
whatever.
and Verizon.
Yes. These don't care. These grab anything. AT&T, well, most of them out there do AT&T and Verizon. That seems to be the thing. But these things do T-Mobile, U.S. Cellular.
I thought, did it say on the box like there was like 20 plus or
There's
10
a lot.
plus
Well,
or
you
something?
have some places like in Oklahoma, tall timbers is the Cherokee. I think it's the Cherokee cell tower system. That's theirs. Well, you got to have that too, you know? So there's a lot of places around, especially out in the West, that have individual tower companies.
So any public cell tower out there.
Don't care. It's like in New Zealand. I don't care. When you set this thing out in New Zealand, there's 5 different cell companies in New Zealand. It grabs whatever it can grab and uses it.
Why aren't the other companies doing that? That sounds like a no-brainer.
Well, it's technology. It's got, you know, they will eventually get there, and I expect them to as you know, as we blaze the trail. You know, the only bad thing, you know what happened to the pioneer that went down the trail first, right? He came back with the butt full of arrows. So we are doing
You're
this.
getting the butt full of arrows.
So we learn a lot. You know, mistakes cost money.
Right.
So we're trying to minimize as many mistakes as possible. South Africa, we found that there's only 3 in South Africa. One's a 3G, one's a 4G, and one's a 5G. So how do you build a camera for that? You know?
We got it.
Yeah. So the international modem can do all that. It's outlawed here in Canada, in the United States, in Mexico. Those are gone. So we don't need that. So we strictly grabbed on the 5G and the future 6G that we can use. And 6G is probably 3 or 4 years off. So you won't have to get a new camera. You just still use the DC2, you know, so we're not requiring you to buy a new camera for that. But for South Africa, they actually have 3. So our international modem that we send to South Africa has to do all 3. You follow me? And New Zealand the same way. Some of these countries are not near about developed as fast as the United States with its communications concern. And the FCC rules that we have here, they don't exist in other countries, you know. So they work very well around the world, you know, so we've done very well.
That's awesome. That's pertinent information.
Yeah, so we talked about the modem is important, the lens is important. Next thing you know is this guy right here. This is what they call the PIR sensor. It's called a passive infrared sensor. It actually looks for 2 things. It looks for movement in the radiation that it gives off and the heat signature that it says. A lot of times, guys, we get this phone call all the time, and I'm going to teach you something about cell cameras that you probably didn't know. If you set this camera on a tree at 5 foot tall, and you put it against a tree like this, how many cameras you got like that?
I don't have any like that.
Okay. You got on T-post or something?
Well, I mean, I don't care what they're mounted to. I have them pointed towards, you're talking about keeping them flat.
Yeah, if they're flat.
Yeah.
This is the problem. So if you mount a camera flat on a tree at 5 foot tall, I can guarantee you're missing deer out there at 20 feet.
Right.
Because we get that call all the time. I'm watching deer in front of the camera. And I said, how far are they? And they said, they're 20 feet in front of the camera. How come it's not taking a picture? I'm going, your camera's 5 to 6 feet tall and flat against a tree. And they're going, yeah. I'm going, well, that's wrong. PIR sensors have 3 beams of movement, okay? They come out of the bottom at about a 15-degree angle. So we're going to hit the dirt out here at about 15 feet, okay? The second one comes straight out. So how many deer's backs are 5 feet in the air?
None.
And the third one is hunting squirrels, okay? And you want to know why you're getting false triggers, because you're hunting squirrels and leaves are moving, okay? So what happens, you have to, at 5 feet, it has to be tilted down at least 10 degrees.
Okay.
What that does is it takes all 3 of your sensors now to the point where out there at about 80 to 100 feet, I am covering dirt. That's what I'm looking for. Here makes a beautiful picture, and you see the sunset and the clouds and stuff, but you don't see your deer, or you miss the deer, okay? Now, if the deer gets a little further out there, we'll see it, or closer to the camera, you see it. But usually your feeder's out there 20 feet, the deer's eating around the feeder, and you're yelling at me because the camera, and this is not just WiseEye, this is all cameras.
Right.
We see this all the time, and I've told people in seminars, I actually do seminars on trail cameras, I don't even wear a WiseEye shirt. I'm here to help you understand that to make your camera work, I don't care what type it is, you've got to tilt it down. Never put it flat against a tree. Got to tilt it down, which now that'll double your pictures probably, because now I'm covering, the sensors are covering where the animals are.
Right.
I'm not going to get the pretty sunsets and the cloud formations and the lightning in the distance anymore. But guess what? I'm not hunting that.
Right.
If I want that, I'll send my wife out there with a high lens camera and take that sunset picture.
Right.
But the lens of the camera, if it's tilted like this, the lens of the camera is, I'm assuming, takes that into consideration. I mean,
yeah.
If it's tilted down, I mean,
it's still not shooting straight out. It's still pointed down. But that's why I said like that 10 degree.
I understand about about the beams or
right. Yes. Sure.
Talking about the lens of the camera now.
The lens of the camera is tilted down some. Okay. Now, what happens is that the camera inside will adjust for the color hues. We spend a lot of time on color hues. If you look at our pictures at dusk, if it doesn't find enough light, it does automatically kick to a black and white picture. It'll blow you away. It's a professional picture in black and white. And then it will go to infrared after that point, after that 10 or 15 minutes of not knowing what to do. There's not enough sunlight to trigger the color hue for the colors that it will kick to black and white. Okay. So we've taken all that consideration. In fact, guys, there is with the new update that's coming out on these things, that you will be able to select. Some of the problems we see with trail cameras is that if you put it in a field, it whites out. Okay. Or if you put it in an oak bottom or something like that, the greens are too dark. So you'll be able to do in the next probably 60 days is be able to change your own color hue that I'm in a field.
That's awesome.
Don't let the sun white out my picture. I'm in an oak bottom. Turn the greens down. Pick up the reds and blues to where my picture is crystal clear. Okay, you'll be able to control that on your pictures on each individual camera, depending on where you set those cameras.
Meaning, like if you're out in the food, you following him, like you're in a food plot, it's not blowing out.
Yeah, it's bright and you can't see past.
The whole idea behind that, remember, if I cannot see what's in that picture, I cannot give you good data. So, I mean, when we were looking at some of the pictures in the WiseEye, looking in a field where the sun's coming up, there's deer out there, but it's just the new system that we're putting in these cameras, and they'll be updated. All the DC2s and MC2s back for 2 years ago will be able to have that ability to be able to change the color hue on that camera for that location, if that makes sense.
What's best? We're talking about the topic of camera placement. What is your recommended camera placement? If this table, this is a feeder, okay?
Right.
This is a 50-pound or 50-gallon barrel feeder or a 2,000-pound feeder. Don't matter.
Right.
Food source. That's what I'm trying to take pictures of deer coming in.
Right.
How far away? How high?
I like to normally place a camera 6 feet high. My cameras, I reach right here. I'm 6'1", so I reach kind of right here. So right at 6 foot. Okay. I reach right here.
Man, you're not tall enough for that.
No.
And I tilt them down a little bit. Now here's the kicker, is how far to put it from that feeder.
Right.
Okay. Remember, passive infrared is actually looking for size of movement. Okay. If I get too close to the feeder, I get birds, I get coons, I get everything else. Okay. If I back away from that feeder, the targets have to be bigger to trigger it. So I don't get all the coons. I don't get all the squirrels. I don't get all the birds. All right. So each individual setup, you look at the situation. My feeder is pretty close. So I get squirrels. And now I got to start messing with the motion sensitivity
of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those work sometimes, but it doesn't turn it enough to where I can say, if it's too close, turning it even to 1, still there's movement there that's going to trigger it. So I like to get out there about 20, 25 feet. The camera's kind of really out of sight of the animal. And then I keep it on the sensitivity. And most sensitivity PIRs are made by the same company. We all kind of, so there's no special thing here. If you notice, they all look the same.
Right.
So they all come from the same company. Is you want to run it on about a 5. Anything above 5 to 7, you start getting the camera thinking everything's a target. That's when especially if you're flat against a tree. Now every leaf that moves is going to trigger this thing.
Yeah.
And then we get calls, my camera's going berserk. And then we look at them and put them in a motion picture, and your leaves are doing this. But when they look at them picture at a time, the leaves are not moving. No, the camera's doing exactly what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Okay. So I tell people, look, 6 foot high, 20, 25 feet from your target is perfect. The infrared light travels great at that speed. No glow, 941 wavelength travels great at to 20, 25 feet. Anything beyond 20, 25 feet, the 941 wavelength is too long, so it takes longer to get back. So that's where you get some of your blurry pictures in. Okay. So my target is about 20 to 25 feet, nothing closer than that, because then you start getting, then you start fighting sensitivity, and that's you'll never win on that when something's that close.
A while ago,
Go.
tilting it forward.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes we put our cameras 3 foot off the ground, 4 foot off the ground. Maybe very few have we ever put 6 foot high.
Yeah.
Now I understand why the tilt down.
Yeah. Well, if you're 3 foot high, you see, I'm hitting the dirt. The middle beams.
You're too low.
Yeah. The middle beam can hit the deer. You follow me? And the upper one is still hunting in the trees out there at about 100 feet. So I'm still getting false triggers of stuff that I don't see.
You only got one beam hitting the deer.
I'm telling you, only because of the terrain would be the only reason why we put one 6 foot high.
Yeah. Well, I said, but I'll put them up there. I want the camera out of a 3 foot high view of that deer, because he scans this. He doesn't do this very often, but he scans this. He knows every bark.
He does in Louisiana. They buzz me all the time.
Yeah. But if you watch a deer when they look,
I'm just toying.
If you watch deer, and these biologists tell you, they can tell you. You can take an axe to a tree, and then knock the bark off, and watch that deer, and that deer will know that bark's been removed. They live there. It's just like you walk in your house and your wife bought a new lamp.
But you will.
You notice it. Even though it's nothing changed, it could be a different, you notice it because you live there. Mm-hmm. This on the side of a tree at 3 foot, he's going to notice it. And so that's the next reason I get it up a little higher. It's above his base look. Okay. And that doesn't seem to bother him as bad. Even when people tell us the low glow that they see, you get it up, it's out of their main view, and you don't usually have that too much problem. If you take a no glow camera to a mature buck, and it happens more in Pennsylvania and New York and places like, we don't have that problem too much here in the South, because deer see lightning at night, heat lightning and flashes, and that's nothing but infrared light. They see that all the time. That's nothing new to them. They see heat lightning here in Louisiana from the time they're born to the time they're gone. So a flash of white light doesn't bother them. Now, up in Pennsylvania, New York, where they don't have this type of phenomenon that we have here in the South, it startles them because it's something they don't see. And even going further, we're not sure if they can see the 941 very well either. That's the length of the wave. We can't, as humans, can't see it. We've never been able to ask a deer, can you see it? It just may not be, they just don't see enough of it. It's not bright enough to see, okay?
I see.
So up north, they tend to use more no glows, okay, instead of the low glow cameras. We've had some people up there, after a year of running the low glow cameras, deer don't care anymore. They walk up and lick the camera while it's running a video at night. It's not scary to them. At first, it may be because they're not used to seeing infrared flashes at night. Our deer here are raised that way. So it's kind of, that's why we made a no-glow for security purposes, because nobody can see it. And some of the bigger bucks that we talk to people say that it spooked them. And I'm not sure if it's spooking them as much as they hear it. Infrared light makes a very low sound that we can't hear. If you listen to the light bulb here, you can hear it. It makes a sound, but we can see that light. But when you get down to the infrared light that we don't see that often, it makes a very low glow. And one biologist told me from Texas, said it's like you're sitting in church and everybody's singing Amazing Grace, and somebody outside sits on an air horn. It just don't belong in that song at that spot. And that's kind of what they hear. They can hear, deer's hearing is incredible. I mean, they hear me open a little Debbie cake, when I'm hunting. Biologists tell me they hear that sound more than they see it because they're not used to it. And the deer down here seem to, with thunder and all, like I said, all this heat, they hear this all the time, and it doesn't seem to bother them. But there's two theories on that. Some people swear that they see it, and I can't argue with them. Maybe so. Yeah. Some biologists tell me that they hear the infrared. Maybe so. But
I've never heard that, or never even would have imagined.
But if you'll move your cameras to 5 foot minimum to 6 foot preferably, you'll be amazed at the difference.
We'll start that immediately.
Yeah. I'm serious. I used to be the 3 to 4 foot guy, and when I changed and went to 5 foot minimum, it's.
I think the only reason why we did it is because there's less branches. Then we got to chop some down and kind of clean it off all around. But we're always having to cut low.
Right.
Do you know how to check the degree, like the angle on your phone?
There's a great app on your phone called Angle. You got to look at it.
Yeah. Is it really angle or
that question?
Well, I didn't know if you knew.
I got a stick about the size of that finger. That's perfect.
Yeah, and put it down in the bottom and give it to That's what I do. That's what we do it.
Yeah, you take a stick about the size of your index finger.
And I'm going to tell you something. Back to that thing with the deer and the light.
Mm-hmm.
Where I grew up, they'll turn inside out on a white flash of light. There was a lot of night hunting where we were.
Well, now the spotlight, the dog spot does cause some problems.
It does sometimes, especially.
You go to measure.
But Richard, when you're turning that 1,000,000 candle watt
measure
beam on, it's a little different.
Measure, Art. I've got the measure.
Yeah, everybody's got the. Sorry to interrupt, but if you're watching this and if you're like Richard and you don't know how, you're going to go to the Measure app. If you have an iPhone, click Measure, and it should pop up typical measure. But if you click Level, you should be able to go and put it
right against it.
Put it like right up on your phone, just like that, or Richard like this. And then you want to get it where it's pointed down 10 degrees. Can you see that?
Yeah.
My hand blocking it?
Yeah.
All right.
Nope, never knew it had that.
Yeah.
I measured to do.
Yeah.
Swipe it over.
Yeah, that will, I'm going to tell you, Richard, that'll increase your picture quality and number tremendously. You'll be surprised at what you don't see.
You'll be surprised how many more deer pictures and coyote pictures you get when you move to that level.
See, and that's what we did. Right. Some of our guys, God bless them, they grew up just like I did. Some of this stuff. I'm glad you're not talking too far over our head because.
Remember,
I'm here, so he's got to talk. He got to dumb it down.
I got to teach Dan and my dad.
Okay. See, he had to teach me all this technical stuff, but I had to teach him how to speak Bubba.
Yeah.
So it was a good trade-off.
Yeah, that's awesome because I majored in that, so that's good.
No, but we're here to help. That's what. See, my guys are trained in the back. They'll pull up a picture and tell the guy on the camera, "You're too high. You're too low.
You know what'd be an awesome
tilted down enough. I see too much sky." And the guy goes, "Well, that's a pretty picture. I'm not hunting birds."
You know, a great thing to do in your store would be to take a cedar tree and put a mark at 5 foot and a mark at 6 foot completely around it, and put one, like they do in a pool, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, mount a camera at that degree to show people.
Yeah. It's amazing. And like I said, that's not just the WiseEye camera. This covers all cameras. And like I said, I give this speech a lot to all cameras. And I don't even mention WiseEye cameras. This is how trail cameras work.
Look, just to be transparent, we still use, we don't use the ones that you have to go to Walmart to get them developed, but we still use just the trail camera, not the cell camera.
Absolutely.
With the SD cards.
Yes.
Yeah.
One good thing, Christmas.
One good thing about this camera here and all of our cameras is that if you use these as a non-cell camera and you put an SD card in it, you can take that SD card out, go to hunt control, put that card in hunt control, and I will still sort all those pictures on that card, pull all the data because I know where that GPS was at, and I'll go back to the weather service and pull all that data of that time that camera took that picture, and I'll still chart those pictures for you.
So it's actually pulling that data from the GPS exact location of where that camera is.
So you can actually, like your little camera from Walmart, if you pull that card out of there, you can go to a computer, put it in the computer, and I will still pull those pictures off of that card and put them in your hunt control, and still chart those pictures, pull out the bucks, the does, the cows, stuff.
But here's the problem, like you already said, though. Yeah. Before everybody jumps the gun, like, well, man, why do I want to pay $200 for this when I can go buy a 4-pack for $50 on Amazon or something like that? You're not going to get the data that from the cheaper camera with the cheaper sensor, cheaper lens, all that stuff like this. The reason that he makes this so robust and gets it where it sends such a clear, high quality picture is so he can pull all 11 different traits or characteristics of that picture that he's looking for. If you don't have those, I'm assuming
the other cameras won't pick that.
You said you're trying to pull 11. Is that what you said earlier?
Yeah, we pulled 11. We've talked to Dr. Deere and a lot of these biologists, and they're going, this is what we think makes deer move. We don't know. We've never asked one. We never able to talk to one going, pull up a mic here and tell me what makes you move. We guess. And we know pretty much how they move, why they move, when they move. They move when they're hungry. They move during the rut. So those are given. But what social changes make them move? And so that's what we're trying to capture. But what I'm saying is, say, if you got a WiseEye camera, you have to have a WiseEye camera to make this work, okay? But if you have a camera, for instance, you're going to have 10 on your farm. But let's say there's one place that there's no way you're going to be able to get cell signal unless we do satellite, okay? You can go buy a $99 camera, stick it on a tree. Now, because you already have a WiseEye subscription running, you can pull that card. And I take it back to that computer. You can put it in there and say, okay, I have a non-cellular camera. This is where it's located. You show Google Maps that it's right here. And then I will take those 5,000 pictures off of that card. We have a contract with these people in the Weather Channel also. I'll go back. If that thing says I took a picture on May 26, 2025, I can go back 7 years.
Oh, my.
And find all those 11 conditions that happened at that spot at that time. That picture now gets moved into hunt control. All that data gets moved. And then you can ask, show me the statistics for that stand in that bottom. I'm doing that for you too. I want you to be successful. That makes it, we're a little different. I want you to be successful. You don't have to buy a subscription. You already have one. But you need a camera to start with. Yeah. You got me? We've got a couple people that actually don't even have WiseEye cameras, but they pay the $6 a month just for that feature to take their cards and run them through, let it go through, and they say, just show me the deer pictures.
What's turnaround time on something like that? Because you keep saying we, and I know what you mean. You're talking about your program. You're not going in and pulling all that information.
No, the program does.
That's what I'm saying.
The program does. Yeah.
So you're not personally doing. You built it. Y'all done all that. But I'm saying
he's talking to my people now because we don't want anybody to think that
you're going in.
No, we don't. The hunt control system goes in and takes that picture off of that card and goes, okay. And the reason we have to do it off the card because these cameras do embed what we call metadata inside that picture. Right. Okay. If you copy it to your computer and then try to do it, it doesn't work. So you take that card and you go to your hunt control account you already have and say, I have a camera here that doesn't get cell service. And you put it in your computer and you tell it, I want to add these pictures to hunt control on this camera. And I'll call it, wheat field 1.
Right.
And I show it on Google Maps. It's right here. Then hunt control, not personally me, will go get all those pictures off of that camera, off of that card. And it will go to, we call it the Weather Channel. And it looks at that metadata and says, okay, I know exactly when this picture was taken. And it calls Weather Channel and says, what was happening at that tree? at that second. And they go, okay, well, the wind was out of the east. It was 60 degrees, moon phase. Okay.
How about that?
So, but you have to have one of these first, okay, to do that. But we don't, there's some places that, I tell people, there's some places God himself with a WiseEye can't get signal right now. That will be changing soon, but right now there's some places that.
That's the part that you hit me for earlier.
Yeah.
You told me to shh about.
Yeah, there's some things that are in the works with this camera and all the other cameras that will within the next 90 days hope to shock the world with.
Spotted Dog Sporting Goods.
Yeah,
that's where we're going to have the WiseEye.
You know, Richard, I apologize to y'all because I've been telling y'all about these cameras for years, but I just couldn't convey all this information to y'all because it is overwhelming.
Remember,
That's a lot of information.
put this on the box.
Yeah.
You can't. That's the main thing. Look, I'll be glad if you have a customer appreciation day or something you do at the store. I'll be glad to come up there and have these talks without WiseEye, just so your customer can be successful. That's who we are. We'd be glad to do that.
Well, I can see this podcast, maybe something. Well, if you miss something, hit rewind, go back,
Right.
and it's covered. I'm telling you, my eyes are wide open now. It told me a lot of stuff I did not know. I can't believe there's something I didn't know.
There's
Hush.
There's plenty I don't know because I got
can
a wife.
say something, but I'm
I have a wife
that.
sitting right over here. She could tell you there's a lot that I don't.
If my wife was sitting right here and she heard me say that, she fell out in the floor.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you have any other questions for me? I mean, this has been.
My word!
This
I
has
wouldn't even
been.
know what to ask. Look, I just appreciate you.
Right.
I'm glad I didn't miss this. I'm glad I'm off today.
So what we're going to do? We're going to get Nolan set up. We're going to get his camera set up. We're going to get him up and rolling. And so he will be able in the next couple of weeks. When are you going?
He's trying to think I leave here tomorrow morning.
Yeah, he's probably going to leave tomorrow morning.
Now.
So we'll get him up there, and then in a couple of weeks he's going to start collecting all this data and be able to start to see this, and then he's going to go, I had no idea this was going on. I had no idea they moved this way.
Well, he had no idea how to track it.
Right.
I mean, he didn't have a way.
Nobody does. Otherwise,
he didn't
other
have
camera
a way
companies that'd be doing it.
Track it at all.
Yeah.
And how long is it going to take before we actually put this on air? What?
I'll have cameras up and getting pictures before.
That's just too long.
Yeah. But like I said, he's welcome. We talked it with the team this morning. He's welcome to put it up. He don't have to wait.
We'll wait.
Yeah, we'll wait. We'll wait just a little bit.
I know there's some editing.
What you ought to
and
do
stuff
is wait about 2.5, 3 weeks. That way, if you're going tomorrow, you'll have at least 14 days of data. Now, a 14-day picture right off the bat is not a great picture, but it's a picture of what's going on, especially if you take some of this stuff.
Yeah, you'll have more of an idea about how things are going with it, by then, too. And you kind of relay that to us, too.
Right.
It's going to be funny for me trying to explain exactly what you just got through saying there in a little while.
You can't.
Well, like I said, this is what we call the WiseEye experience. It's not just taking pictures. It's about the plan. How do we be better conservationists of what we have? It's the plan. And this is why we're a little different. It's not about the pictures. It's totally about the plan, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Yes. Yes, sir. Look, I don't know what to say. I'm just so appreciative you decided to come on up here. You and Mr. Dan traveled up here, and we did this thing. That's going to help. That's going to help a lot of people. That's going to help a lot of people with cameras.
Yeah, I'm saying it's not just WiseEye cameras; it's a whole.
It's a whole.
Any camera. Yeah. Look, I get in this conversation all the time. People call me going, "Well, my camera doesn't work," and I've actually not talked them out of it, but I said, "Well, there's nothing wrong with your camera. Let me see a picture." Well, your camera's pointed wrong. Let me tell you what to do. You got to tilt it down, get it up high, tilt it down, and if it don't work, then you call me. But there's no need of buying a camera. You already spent the money. We're a little different. It's not about the transaction. Remember, it's about the customer being successful. That's all we're concerned with.
Well, I think the rest of it will take care of itself. If they're successful,
Right.
Then the rest of it takes
It's the same thing back there, giving you a little bit of credit. Same thing back there for you and Michael. I can't tell you how many times y'all have talked somebody out of a bow. Come back there. I mean, you're there to sell bows, but somebody comes in wanting to upgrade or wanting to do something, and they start talking to you about it. You've not sold bows before.
We'll do that every now and then.
Right.
He said when the light bill's not due.
But if you know it don't fit, it doesn't fit. So you don't force it. And, if you're ready for WiseEye, good. If you're not, then that's okay. There's other cameras out there that work very well. It's just, what do you want from your camera? You want pictures? There's plenty out there to do that. It's not a problem. Mm-hmm. And there's some good, and I know a lot of people. There's some of the best people. I have dinner with them. Know some of them personally. Have them on my, what they call that Fave 5 you have on your phone. That we talk to from time to time. Have no problem with our other competitors. None. It's just, we are going down a different road with the technology than some of the other ones. They're chasing the pictures. We're chasing the plan is what we're trying to do. And that makes a big, especially with the feeders coming online to where now these cameras now control the feeders. Now we control how much protein the deer get. We can do a deer calculations of how many deer we overdoe populated. We're looking for sick animals that can be reported to the DMV. So there's not DMV, I'm sorry, the Wildlife and Fisheries. But this is where we're going with technology, and which is quite different. And we started this in my dad's garage because we wanted to be different. And I guess Dan heard the story, but how did we do this? It all comes down to a challenge. When someone challenged us to do something.
How long ago?
2010 we started.
2010.
We've been doing this for 15 years. And the challenge came to us is, could you build a feeder that would only feed a specific species?
That's right.
And the answer was no. The main speaker said there's no way to do that. He said Purina has tried, Nutrien has tried, but nobody can build that feeder. And I raised my hand, and my brother went, "Oh, great, here he goes." I said, "We'll build it. We'll build this feeder." And he said, "What makes you think that you can do this, that these billion-dollar companies can't?" I just told him very simple. You just told a Cajun you can't do something. I said, "We made Hold My Beer and Watch This famous." Room busted in laughing, but we delivered a machine to the USDA within 6 months. We had to figure that out. We actually built probably the world's first sound card that understood its environment. Now, we're not engineers. We actually went to Barnes & Noble and bought a book for electronics for dummies to start this. We always tell a story that book wasn't good enough. We went back and looked for a book that said electronics for Cajuns. It didn't have enough pictures in that other book. We had to have pictures. And we figured out, we put microphones around where hogs fed, and we recorded them feeding. And we took those recordings back, and I figured out that I could take a sound card. It was called a 232 RG card, and put those sounds on there. And I could put those 4 sounds on there that hogs make when they eat. And then I could put sounds on there that are negative, like a bear grunt, anything of that nature. That would be a negative. And so I built this sound card and put microphones on a feeder. This is in 2010 to listen to its environment. And when the hogs came in, they made those sounds, and we opened the doors for them to feed. And that just blew people away. That 2 boys and a father in a shed in central Louisiana figured that out.
They did something nobody else could figure out.
And what was funny is when we showed it to the guys in the government, they were just, the first thing they did is when they saw it and they saw it work, we were actually in Florida with the machine. They took it down there because that's where they have bears and stuff. And we shocked some bears and what have you. And they just thought that was funny. The bear didn't think it was funny, but they thought it was pretty funny. When they met us down there, they actually brought tarps and wrapped this machine up, put it on a trailer, and said, "You take this thing back to Baton Rouge and you lock it up." and you don't tell nobody you built this thing until you hear from us. And what they did is had some patent attorneys call us and said, you need our help. So we own the patents behind any machine or feeder that opens and closes a door using audio or video technology to feed that animal. So they wrote those patents for us in 2011, 2012. And we didn't get it till like 2018. It took us 6 years to fight for it because the people at the patent office couldn't figure out what we were asking for because no one has ever done this. And so it took us 6 years to get those patents behind those feeders. So now we have really come full circle back to the feeders. And we're excited about what's fixed to happen in the future of WiseEye going forward.
When will those be available, the feeders?
They're actually putting in pre-orders now. I think that they will start showing up on the All Seasons Feeders website soon.
Oh, so you're going through All Season.
All Season approached us.
Dude.
They approached us 3 years ago and said, Harold, I know what you've got. I need to help you. Because I was having problems. Remember, we don't borrow money, going to buy $1 million CNC machine to cut these things out. So Zach came to us and said, I want to build your feeders. And I went, dude, have at it.
What better person?
Oh, he's a great guy. Absolutely great guy.
Yeah.
So Zach built it and designed it. I put the technology in there to use this camera on the feeder. And they've been working absolutely flawlessly in the
Now,
field.
also tell people the first generation of these are going to be big.
Well, they're 600-700 pound feeders. These are not little feeders.
Right. Yeah.
But you're not wasting food either.
No.
Now, we will probably look more of a consumer model next year, but these are commercial feeders for the big guys, the big ranches and stuff.
Oh.
But they're cool as they can be. You can be sitting in your house and just hit a button and the door close, because you see in the pictures of the animals.
Or it'll do it automatically.
It does it automatically if you set it up. Yeah.
So are those going to be, if you can say, are those going to be like, we just bought some All Seasons to put up there in Kansas, and it's the 1,000-pound ones.
All seasons or off season?
All Seasons.
All seasons.
Yeah, that's it.
ASF.
Yeah.
Yep. All Season feeders.
Yeah.
We just got 4 new ones that we put up there, and they're 1,000 pounds. They're short, they're squatty. I mean, they're not 5.5 foot tall total, but they're gravity feeders. And but the way it opens, I say it's gravity feeder. It doesn't have a spinner.
Yeah,
it's got the 4 sides.
It's got the little snouts on
Yep.
it. Yeah.
And they have those, and then the last 4 that we bought, it just essentially has like a trough with 4 different dividers on it. And when the timer goes off, instead of just slinging it around, it essentially opens up, the feed falls out. Is that kind of how these are going to work?
Oh, no. This actually has, and Zach and I had this conversation at a time. I said, Zach, that's not a deer feeder. That's an animal feeder. You don't care who eats it.
Yeah.
It's like all spin feeders. You go buy a deer feeder. No, it's not. You throw it in,
Everything's eaten.
everything's eaten.
Right.
It's an animal feeder. This actually has a door, sliding door, and a big trough. And the food falls in this hopper. And there is a 1/4-inch steel plate that slides over it by 2 pistons. It closes that door off. And we also had, one thing we had to do, we had to build a safety mechanism to where if it's coming down, you got 2 big arms pushing this thing. And none of us were brave enough to stick our leg in it to see if it would stop.
Yeah.
So we stuck a 2-liter Coke bottle in it. Guess what? It didn't stop.
Yeah, imagine not.
So we had to go back and say, okay, how do you remember this? Imagine everything. So what do you do now? So we had to go in and put 2 pistons that the motors push to where if it hits resistance, the piston pulls back. And when you move the object, then it closes. So now we can stick our leg in there for testing. We were doing that the other day, showing somebody, stick your arm in there. And it hits your arm, it stops. It has about 10 pounds of pressure. But you can pull your arm out and it closes. So that was the latest safety thing. And that was one of the last things that we had to do. Because, you don't want somebody to get hurt.
No.
Well, you don't want to go out there to your feeder and there's
Dead deer.
some four-legged something or another hanging out the end of it.
Yeah, we saw some pictures of like coons cut in half and stuff like that. Not from our feeders, but some of the other feeders that are out there that tried this. So But this is, you can sit in your house and say, I want at least 3, 4, 5 confirmations that there's a hog there before you close the door. Maybe one false trigger to close the door. So you have all this settings that you can do. And it's got GPS in the feeder, so it knows where it's at. So sunrise and sunset's a different time every day in a different location. So it knows all that. So you can just say, 30 minutes before sunset, 30 minutes. And it checks with the global clock and says, okay, this is where I'm at. Here's sunrise, sunset, and it closes, opens the door.
So by default, does it stay open all the time?
That's up to you. You can say, I want to open it. And when my target animal comes in, whatever, deer, cow, whatever, let them eat. But if a pig comes in there, close the door. Or you can say, when the target comes in, ease the door back open and let them eat. Either way.
And that works off your camera. So that camera will talk to the feeder.
And you talk to the feeder too. When you look at hunt control, when you get hunt control, you'll see this massive thing, and then you'll see feeders on there. You see cameras, and then you'll see feeders. And under feeders, you'll have all your feeders listed. So you can control each one. You can look at the feed in it. You can, all this kind of stuff. So it's an amazing technology. Remember, imagination, can do anything.
So when did you say those will be available with the pre-order now? We're thinking
they're actually giving, Zach's taking the pre-orders now. In fact, he's got over 400 orders in. 400 machines to build already. So it's been exciting for him that this rollout has been so successful. And we've only shown it to 2 ranches, physically shown it to 2. And there's 400 orders between the 2 of them.
As much, I thought they were 1,600 pound or 1,500 pound.
No. There's going to be, the way it's built. A person can say, "I need a 2,000 pound feeder," because it's built square, so it can go up as high as you want to. One of the orders that are been put in, that they want bigger hoppers, and that's no big deal, putting a hopper in there. And then one guy likes the 500 because he said, "I'm not wasting food. I'm not feeding everything in the world, so I don't think I'm going to need 1,000-pound hopper," because he said, "I lose 300 or 400 pounds every month from rain, coons."
Raccoons,
yeah.
Oh, dude, the coons and porcupines.
Yeah.
That are, it's unreal. 2,000 pounds
porcupine. Really?
Oh yeah. Half as big as this table. They stink too. Oh, they stink so bad. Don't ask me how I know. Got holes in my bibs to prove it. But 2,000 pounds of corn in those big all-season feeders every 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we got multiple of those up in Kansas.
Because it's feeding everything. I'm just
Richard,
going to be
I got a question.
So.
When are me and you going bow hunting in Kansas?
Hey.
Now your schedule may be a little bit more fluid than ours is. That's our busy time.
Hey, look, if he doesn't give you permission to look at his pictures, you just let me know.
I sure will. Thank you.
No, you have a sharing app.
He knows the guy.
the app you could share with people. So you can say, I'm only going to give Richard the camera at the gate and one in the ditch.
That's all you're getting, the gate and the ditch.
Yeah. So that's the only 2 cameras
awesome.
he can look at. But you can also tell him, you can also give him limits. He can't erase those.
Yeah.
He can't do that. He can't change settings on those cameras. You follow me? He can do. So you can break up your cameras and send them to whoever you want.
You talking about now?
Oh yeah, that's now. You can do that now. You can do that now. We did that we got some big hunting clubs that have, 50 members, and they have 300 cameras. So what was happening is one of the guys that was working at midnight, was working night shifts, they watch all the cameras, but he had a nice buck come on his camera, and he would delete the pictures.
Can't do that.
So nobody would know where that deer was at and what stands. So
except him.
We had to back up, and so we have the guy who runs is kind of the administrator, and you give these guys permission to only see these cameras. So the cameras that the club that they bought is the only cameras, even that now they're on the ranch program, you follow me, so they all get good. It's fairly cheap to run that many cameras. So they're now saying, okay, Bob, this is his 3 cameras. So wherever he puts them, this is the only 3 he can see. So they had to go back and do that because they had people erasing pictures and stuff.
No, but that's awesome.
Yeah. So we had to put that in for sharing purposes for people that want to share cameras with people.
Well, dude, I mean, if we sit here any longer, we're going to find out more information, and I want to get you back up. So,
yeah, probably about another 3 months, we'll have a whole lot of other stuff to talk about.
It's been
Part two.
Part two, yeah, part two.
And plus, and you'll have.
Oh yeah,
and after tonight, we'll all have some stuff to talk about now because we'll all know more about what it is.
Yeah. We can actually. I don't know if you can share your computer screen on there, but we could pop it up and we can show maybe some of your data and show them this is your data. This is how your deer are moving. This is how this buck's moving. We can start tagging a deer. We can start making a folder on this guy. Let's see how he's moving. When is he moving? And things like waning moon. This deer, we had no idea that this one buck would not move in a full moon. I've been told all my life in a full moon deer, this one didn't.
They move at night on a full moon.
Yeah.
Or midday.
They move. I mean, they move. They don't sit in one spot all day long. They move, but they just may not move in that direction.
Yeah, they're going to go somewhere and eat. Where are they going? And that's what we're trying to find out.
That's why if you scatter enough cameras out on a property, that's whatever you could afford. I mean, you're going to get, your data is just going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, I'll tell you just the technology we're doing. If let's say you got one camera here on the north side and you got one camera on the west side, and we see 3 deer, let's say a full-blown doe, a maiden doe, and a yearling, spotted doe, and they leave, and 20 minutes later we see a old doe, maiden doe, and a fawn. We can go under the assumption that those deer are traveling this direction. This is stuff we calculate. They're traveling this direction under these weather conditions. So now we can know how they're moving. So we can actually run a time frame on your property, and you can see how the deer are moving from stand to stand.
One of the things I've done at a feeder, start seeing which way they're coming in, walk them back to the bed with these cameras.
Yeah.
You can even walk them forward. If you got a picture of them at this camera with the correct conditions, and you know an hour and a half, they're going to be down here. Well, you don't walk in on them right there.
That's right.
You go.
Yeah. I'll tell you something. I'll tell you one thing that we did learn with all this data, and we actually had a guy help us write a paper on this. We can see every camera, every picture, every drop of data. So we got billions of data points and data information. We just got this massive pile of information. We just don't know what to do with it. So we had a guy help us one time. We said, well, how do deer move in front of a cold front? That was the question. Well, we don't know. Let's go find out. So we started looking at this data. And what was funny was we watched the cold front come through. We watched the deer movement and how they move in front of cold front. And as a front came through, if the front was what they called it dry, which is snow, okay? We see a lot of deer movement in front of that cold front, lots of movement. But after the front, because we can watch the barometer, remember we watch all the weather, we can see when the barometer changes, we know when it passed through. It may be 24 hours before we see deer in that field again. That's on a snow front. As this front comes down further south and turns into a wet front, somewhere around Kentucky, Tennessee, North Alabama, the deer completely change. 24 hours in front of that front, you will not see a deer. But 2 hours after it passes, they're in the field. I wish I'd had known that, because I came back to the camp many a times with my drawers wet because my dad said the front's coming, the deer are going to move. They don't.
We say it right now.
Yeah.
We say it this past year.
But
be out there ahead of that front.
Deer don't move. How many do
Not
you
on
see?
a wet
How many?
front, not in the south.
I can't remember. But it was a cold front. It had some rain, but I wasn't there during the rain. But beforehand, absolutely, I was.
And
but
you probably didn't see a whole lot of deer.
I can't remember.
2 hours after the barometric pressure bottoms, within 2 hours, you're probably going to see deer behind that front.
There's no doubt after it moved through, we definitely would see that.
But if you go further north, it's backwards. It's in front of the front. They don't move. If it's snow involved. And it's amazing how God made these animals that smart. I wasn't smart enough. I went out in the rain with a shotgun and got wet. I wasn't very smart.
You're supposed to have more sense in that.
Yeah, I know. You would think. But I could tell. But that's what I told my dad when we looked at this date. I went, you did me wrong as a young one. You know,
told me you should have listened to your granddad.
Sent me out there and got wet because the deer are going to move in front of the front. And we find out now they don't. Now, there's some they do, but as a rule, we can see
numbers
a million pictures coming in, million points of data coming in, and the deer ain't moving until after we see that front go. And then we see the maps light up, boom, of where they were at. Those are just things that we see and we're learning. And it's an incredible being on this side of it. You know, I'm shocked every day when we go in on our meetings that what they want to know. Remember, imagination is everything. What are we going to do 4 years from now? We already have it on the board. If we could pull some of the stuff we're going to do on the board a couple of years, it's going to be fun. You know, but imagination is everything to us.
So you don't go to work in the morning. You go to a workplace and y'all
go to
have
workplace.
fun with it.
Yeah, we go to workplace. We have fun. It's a family, and we have fun.
That's awesome.
You know, so give you an idea. But like I said, we're already planning 3 to 5 years out of what we're going to do next. Some of them are going, that's never going to work. But some of them may. They told us a long time ago that you couldn't figure out how to feed a specific animal. And look what we do. So
that's awesome.
Anyway.
We're the same way. We don't go to work either.
No.
We go have
have fun.
Y'all go build bows.
Close us out.
Yeah, close us out, Bob.
Thank you for coming on.
I appreciate it.
I know it was a long drive. What'd it take you? 3.5, you said?
About 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
That's nothing. We drove in from Charlotte last week. We were 14, 16 hours. So, I mean, I love to go out and meet people. That's what we did. I went out and we went to 14 or 15 resellers and just talked to people.
That's awesome.
Just had a ball with them. I saw a great competition for you next year they had a little, I was telling him, they had a circle about that big around. It was painted red. And it was on a deer cutout. It was 30 yards, but the cutout was 1/4-inch steel. And you paid $5 a shot. And at the end of the day, they were giving away a Hoyt bow decked out. It was about $1,800. They destroyed some arrows that afternoon. I mean,
it was the deer steel and the center was soft,
like that iron buck challenge.
It wasn't no bigger than that. And they were firing at that thing all day long, and they were destroying arrows. The most impressive guy I saw walked up there with a recurve, put his $5 down, and put that arrow in that circle.
Everybody else should have quit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, these guys were pulling out these racked. I saw one guy had a level out there. Must have been 10 feet long. I don't know how he trying to shoot that thing.
Looked like it ought to get cable TV. Yeah. All that stuff hooked up.
He missed all 4 shots. Destroyed. He said this arrow's costing $25 a piece. I went, well, there's your first problem.
That was just a signal booster for the new version.
Don't tell them that now. Look.
Keep shooting them.
Shot it. Spotted dog don't run on love. You know, we got to have. But we got to have them come in there.
But that was a great competition. They were standing in line to shoot it because it got to be just a fun, slap. But it was a lot of fun. But they said, "You're going to shoot, Harold?" I'm going, not a chance. I don't know if I could hit that target, but let's hit the reds.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you do meet a lot of people. But
that was a lot of fun.
Doing this outdoor stuff.
Well, Dan, appreciate you coming on.
Oh, I wouldn't have missed it.
Yeah.
Not this one.
I can't believe you said you brought some product.
I did. I brought you something.
Oh, and look, we're going to do another deal with Mr. Dan, too, because he just got back from Africa with some good stories.
Oh, that's good stuff here.
I'm going to pour that on my steak, that elk steak here in just a little bit. I brought you this to take. I'm not putting cooter juice on that elk steak here in a little bit.
No.
But it's synthetic.
Oh, yeah. Then that's good. Yeah, that's great.
Since you're taking 10 cameras, how many feeders you got?
More than 10.
Well, 5 of them need to have that in front of them.
Even now?
365.
Oh, yeah, we
I
run-
got deer working scrapes right now. I got deer working scrapes
Really?
last month. I get deer working scrapes every month.
Yeah, I got about a quarter of a bottle. That's what I told him. I got about a quarter bottle left of Rookham juice. When we sprayed it when we were up there last time on lease ground.
But we put
Private
it on
Now
our
that-
boots going in back and forth now, the Seymour deer.
Yeah, no,
but I've
that
not-
green Rookham juice.
Year-round.
Every chance that I'm around
That's awesome.
where I'm hunting, I'm putting it on scrapes.
Let's see. I had a doe.
That's Cuz's Cooter Juice.
Cause it's cooter juice. We got,
That's this morning. What's that doe doing?
yep, she's hitting that
She's on her
branch.
branch, licking branch. Look at that.
But we got pink
Scent
bottle
post.
cooter juice,
That's her
Yes.
social media.
Seymour deer in the yellow bottle,
I got that from you.
and we got Rookham in the green bottle.
Yep.
And Critter Getter. That Critter Getter, some good smelling stuff, but it works.
Yeah, and I did
it
have to
works
put.
too.
I will say this: not for human consumption
Ah, dang it.
because it smells so good.
It
you
really
want to put it on
does.
ice cream.
Not for your pancakes. is what
No,
you're saying.
that's not.
Okay.
But try some of this in your feeders because that one bottle will treat up to 900 pounds.
Just kind of as you're going and filling it in with that auger, just
Just
sprinkle it in there.
Sprinkle
like
it
that.
in there.
I haven't done that before. I'll do that.
I run it in my feeders every day. I mean, every time I add them up, I fill them up. And like this morning, I could show you on my WiseEye cameras, I had 9 does at one feeder this morning, 6 does at another, and 3 at another. All at the same time, hundreds and hundreds of yards apart.
Yeah. Richard,
Yes.
thank you for coming on.
Enjoyed it.
It was good.
Enjoyed it.
It was really good. Well, we're about to go to Parrish and go get something to eat.
About ready to go see our buddy Corey Barr. Hope he's there.
He's not.
Well,
He's judging or hosting or emceeing the Louisiana seafood competition down in Baton Rouge. Is it New Orleans or Baton Rouge? They're having it.
New Orleans.
New Orleans are having it right now.
oh, how about that? Well, he
so
won't
he's-
mind his charge.
Yeah, and the
that
guy we're
time.
going to eat. Yeah, we're going to put it on his
He'd
account.
rather charge it to you than you beat him out of it, right?
He's-
I think he's that kind of guy.
Surprise.
yeah, that's right. I promise he wouldn't mind.
One
He
quick
is a-
story about this. I rode by a feeder yesterday and just sprayed the legs on the feeder because I hadn't been by there in a while. 2 hours later, I had hogs at that feeder. I rode by there at 9:30, 11:15. There was hogs there. They're not happy right now. That's all I'll say about that.
They had heartburn.
Dude, you can't.
Just don't-
You can't leave with it. What? So
Just
you
don't
can't-
don't ask more questions. We're gonna. We know
Okay.
what you what you
Okay.
mean. Yeah.
Yeah, when that picture come up and I'm like 200 yards away from them,
Oh, I see.
I thought you were talking about poison or something.
no.
That's why I was like, we'll just leave it there. Are you talking about lead poisoning?
Lead poison.
Yeah, he's talking about lead
Something
poisoning.
along those lines.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, appreciate y'all coming on. We got a whole fan base back here. Are y'all awake? He said barely. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this more than our crew back here did. But no, thank you for coming on. Appreciate your wife. Thank you for driving up here with him and dealing with us. I really appreciate it. We're going to treat you to a good meal. So thank you. But Shot Spotted Dog Sporting Goods for all of your trail camera needs, accessories. By the time this episode drops, we will have them all. So appreciate you coming on.
I enjoyed it. guys.
Oh,
We
good.
appreciate y'all coming
I
out. We
enjoyed it.
enjoyed that.
Thank you. All right.
That's good.
get your sniff on.
Oh, Cooter juice, baby. We'll see y'all next time. Bye.